rising from the concrete of Dover, Delaware. Miles the Monster is everywhere, and havoc ensues on his grounds.
If you can win here in Dover, then you're pretty much made of championship material.
This is not your average 5,280-foot Sunday stroll. With its steep banks, high speeds, and tight spaces, that's a recipe for disaster.
Hard in the wall. Oh, that's going to be big.
So come on. Miles is waiting. The mayhem is coming up right here on FS1.
Miles the Monster had a big meal here yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. Loads of caution flags. What will happen today? Welcome to FS1's coverage of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series from Dover, presented by the Drive for Autism. This track opened in 1969. 1 year later, Richard Petty drove a Plymouth Superbird much like this one at Dover. The King is at the wheel of this Smithfield Superbird Tribute, a barn find that they restored. Now, if you go to wintheking.com, you'll see how you can enter to win the King's 1970 Superbird. Boy, that was an era when giants roamed the mile here at Dover. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Kyle Busch on the pole, two-time Dover winner on a long winless streak. He almost broke last Sunday. And Martin Truex, who got that very first win on this date 10 years ago. Toyota's also in row two. Teammates Daniel Suarez and Matt Kenseth, last year's winner. Kyle Larson, the top Chevy, he is fifth alongside Kurt Busch's Ford, the best. Kurt Busch's Ford, the best of the Fords. He won here in October 2011.
What do you say we dial up Kyle Busch and see what he's got on his mind today? Kyle Busch, DW there, my friend, you got a copy?
I can hear you.
Roger that. Hey, buddy, on the pole, got a fast car. So close last weekend. Can you pull it off today and get that first win of the year?
Well, I'd certainly like to think so. This pedigree Camry's been fast since we've been here. Been really good right off the truck. Guys have made some really smart adjustments, so I feel like we've got a piece that can do it. There's also some other guys that are going to be just as fast, though, so we got to make sure we stay up front as best we can all day and lead that last lap.
All right, brother. Good luck today, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Let's check on pit road here in Dover, beginning with Vince Welch.
Well, Mike, as if this place isn't tough enough already, defending race winner Matt Kenseth has a little extra challenge down on pit road today. Because of a technical inspection penalty, the 20 team was forced to take this pit box squeezed between the 1 and 48 teams. So a pit road that's already one of the tightest in the circuit got a little bit smaller for this 20 group. Kenseth has one of the best pit crews in the business. They're going to have to be on point because they're going to be working in even tighter quarters than usual here at Dover today. Matt?
Well, Vince, Dale Jr. is doing his part to try to help this 88 team get back to victory lane. On Thursday, he spent a good amount of time in the GM simulator. Crew Chief Greg Ives told me what they learned there allowed them to unload here with confidence. It's been a great weekend, actually one of the smoothest all year. This is a race car with some speed. Watch the 88. He's starting 11th. Matt?
Jamie, it's been a rough three-race stretch for Joey Logano on the 22 team. Since his encumbered win at Richmond, his best finish has been 21st. He struggled in qualifying on Friday, rolling off 26th. But Saturday morning in practice, they changed direction, hit upon something. Joey said they're back in the ball game. His crew chief Todd Gordon said the biggest challenge today will be significantly higher temps in the racetrack and how the track changes. Now to my pal and teammate, my crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Well, Matt, I think because of what you mentioned, the track temp is up and the grip is down. I think most trips to pit road will be for 4 Goodyear tires. But don't rule out late in the race, somebody rolls the dice and goes with right sides only. Remember, that's what contributed to Matt Kenseth winning this race a year ago. Let's take a look at the weather now. 80 degrees, track temp 101, a little bit of breeze, starting to get just a little bit overcast. The race analysis, 400 laps, 400 miles. Stage 1 and 2, 120 laps. That final stage of the checkered flag, 160 laps. Pit road speed, slow, 35 miles per hour. The field window, 85 to 95 laps. The grip level of 3 to 4. And Jimmy Johnson, 10-time winner here, Mike, to the rear of the field for changing a gear this morning.
Yep, they found something with the ratchet or locker in the car and decided to make that change, which puts them in the rear. The 2017 Toyota Camry XSE pace car leads the field out of turn 2 and onto the backstretch. Even the straightaways here are banked. 24 degrees in the turn, 9 degrees on the straightaway underneath the crossover bridge, or overhead tunnel as it was dubbed. We're so close to the ocean they couldn't dig a tunnel here at this track.
Really interesting that Kyle Busch chose the pole. He's on the pole, but he chose the inside lane. We've seen where the outside lane gets a big launch on these starts and restarts. So maybe he and Martin Truex Jr. have a plan here.
I don't know. Kyle's car's been really good right around the bottom. Watch him in practice. I think he's going to be all right with this.
In turn 3, and you'll see the orange square on the asphalt as the pace car turns in. There it is. That denotes the entrance of pit road. All 4 wheels must be below that box.
Well, we've had our crab cakes. Now we're going to do a little racing on the concrete. It's going to be a fun afternoon.
And look at this crowd.
Look what a crowd we got here today. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing drivers.
Kyle Busch handily dropped to the inside and leads lap 1 for Martin Truex.
Yeah, that was not a problem at all. The way that car launched when he got the green flag and jumped in the gas. Denny Hamlin going to the inside of Austin Dillon. This has been a pretty good track for Denny Hamlin. So I look, to see how he reacts to the type of season he's had and the type of car he's had so far this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch. Jimmy Johnson back there in the back. He's got to work his way to the front. We know what he can do here. Hamlin struggled in practice, but they got the car a little bit better. I think things are going to pick up here for those guys.
6th place, Kurt Busch. Matt Kenseth. And now Brad Keselowski. And Eric Jones coming.
So in the first couple laps, you'll see this on every restart when they have new tires. Air pressures are down. Takes a couple laps for the grip to really come in on these tires. That's an opportunity for some of these drivers to make a pass in those first couple laps.
Jimmy Johnson passed 10 cars in the first 3 laps. Denny Hamlin inside Dale Jr. Eric Jones just ahead.
Boy, Mike, when you go off the corner here side by side with somebody, it's really treacherous. Tough sledding right there. That car on the inside will get loose, hit the one on the outside. We've seen it happen time and time again. Got to be real careful with that kind of pass.
Yeah, DW, I've seen where you'll have a line open up. They'll give you the spot, but completing that pass is this is one of the most difficult tracks to complete a pass.
It just gets you loose. When you get down to the guy, it just sucks you around, sucks you right into it.
Yeah, the splitter hits the racetrack. The car's got to be set up loose to get through the center of the corner, but you cannot allow that car to get to the outside of you or be on the outside of you and take the air off the spoiler.
Oh, we heard Martin Truex in the pre-race show talking about how hard these cars are to drive with this small spoiler on the back. Not as much downforce as what we had here last year.
Passing doesn't seem to be a problem for that 48 car. He's really flying up through the field.
He's cut there like a knife through butter, man.
This group was almost 3 wide coming off turn 4.
Yeah, we saw it where Denny Hamlin was on the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He closed in on Eric Jones and made that pass, and now they've both gone by.
Well, you heard Jones say in the pre-race show also, Mike, that they made a bunch of changes to that car this morning, and he was hoping it would be better. Remember, he spun out yesterday in practice. Didn't hit anything, but that's a scary moment for a rookie.
This track is going to change a lot in this first run. All that rubber had been washed off overnight. And so what's going to happen is you're going to see it darken up and gain a lot of rubber, and that's going to change the grip level and the balance level. So whoever you see fast right now at the beginning doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be fast as we get later into this race.
I had to catch my breath because Ryan Blaney almost lost it in turn 2, and that nearly stacked up Jamie McMurray and everybody else right behind him. Clint Boyer right there, Casey Kane as well. Now he's got it straightened out.
That's one thing I saw. I saw it in Charlotte. I've seen it here in practice. Going, everything good, snap. Car jumps out Monday, and it's unexpected in most cases.
And that's this new aero package that the teams have been dealing with this year. I think this is the track where they're really going to be challenged with having less downforce on the car. This track more than any, the way you unload into the corner, load into that banking, need to get the car rotated, but you don't have the downforce to do it.
Yeah, downforce is grip. When you got the rear tires being shoved down the ground by that rear spoiler, that's just a lot of good, comfortable grip.
Ryan Newman in the 31 already is up testing the higher line on this racetrack, as is Paul Menard, his teammate, in the 27.
And Mike, that usually tells you got cars maybe not like you'd like for it to be. You start searching around. He's looking for a place to run where the car's happy. The car might not be happy around the bottom. Got to move up and see if I can find some grip.
Now here's somebody else that really likes the high line. Dale Earnhardt Jr. He moved up there. Denny Hamlin goes by, but look who's coming back up through there as well. Eric Jones.
I'd be a little nervous about doing that too much too early in the race till some rubber gets down, because it really magnifies tire wear. We saw it yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. Don't run too much up there in the early going.
Yeah, Larry, as you mentioned before, they started on the tires they qualify. These tires already have some really hard, aggressive laps on them, so they've already been abused. Now you start moving up into the cleaner part of the racetrack, and this concrete can grind that rubber off the inside of those tires.
Yeah, one thing I see the smart guys do, they get off the gas early. They law off early, let the car coast in the corner, but they're back in the throttle wide open off the corner. That seems to be the hot tip.
Third place, Kyle Larson, who started 5th, moving up, and here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 11th, trying to stay ahead of Ricky Stenhouse. Yeah, they battle Chase Elliott.
He moved up the ratio. Remember, their car is set up similar to Jimmy Johnson. At least that's the way they came into the race. Jimmy loves to be right on the bottom and part throttle through the center of the corner. I think Junior is going to have to adapt to that type of driving style to make this setup work. Right now, he's using his own line that typically has worked well for him, but it's not working if you look at how these cars are starting to get by him.
Yeah, well, if you just wait, if Junior wait a couple of laps, 3 or 4 here, Jimmy will be up ready to show him where to run the car, because he is coming, baby.
14 laps complete of the AAA 400. Kyle Busch has led them all. We're under caution. Ryan Sieg, making his Cup debut, has spun at turn 2. Pit road is open. Here they come. Jamie.
And Kyle Larson, he has been bad fast all weekend, fastest in 2 of the 3 practice sessions, and saying right now his car is just a little bit loose on landing, but not bad. Definitely not as bad as the cars I've been listening to around him. They'll pit here for a 4-tire stop. Matt?
The Toyota's looking good, 3 in the top 4. Up top in the upper right, Truex looking for his 3rd win here, says the car just way too free. Almost right from the drop of the green. You can see chassis adjustment. The same for Daniel Suarez. Started to go free, much like his teammate Kyle Busch in the 18. Right before that caution came out, air pressure adjustment on the 18. Great battle off pit road. No contest for the 18 of Busch.
Busch, Truex, Logano with 2 tires jumps up 16. The big winner is Ricky Stenhouse, who was 11th and did not stop. Ryan Sieg, making his debut in the 83, usually driven by Corey LaJoie, spins in turn 2 to bring out the first caution of the day. A disastrous pit stop for Kyle Busch. They lost the left rear wheel.
You see all this on the left rear over here. You see that the Jackman let the car down before the guy had a chance to tighten the left rear tire up. But
yeah, a lot of times those Jackman, they go off the left front. Watch, he has his eyes on the left front. Little bit of an issue getting the left rear on. No lug nuts on that left rear. Dropped the jack. And never even looked back.
Looked like a possible hand injury to the left rear tire carrier.
A lot of damage to the car riding around this racetrack without a left rear tire.
Now, Kyle made it all the way back around to his pit to have a new wheel installed.
I think the tire's going to make it too, the way it's going around the track.
Restart in the back. We're ready to go green. We'll get an update on penalties, if any, later. Ricky Stenhouse did not stop. So he is your race leader, and the 17 brings them to green with Truex on the inside.
A little bit of trouble wheel spin from that outside lane with those older tires of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. No problems for Martin Truex Jr. on those new tires.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how that 17 can hang in there with these guys with tires. That's going to be an interesting experiment.
And remember, the 22 of Joey Logano took only 2 tires.
Boy, these restarts, Mike, are so hectic. I mean, they're coming at you from every angle, inside, outside.
Matt Kenseth back to 14th. He dropped 2 since the restart.
A lot of times you can't go. Somebody in front of you doesn't go. You can't go. Here they come inside, outside. Somebody bump you in the rear. Gets real hectic on these restarts.
I'm really anxious to watch the 22 of Joey Logano, how this works with 2 tires. We've seen 2 tires win this race for Matt Kenseth a year ago, but he was the leader. He was out front in clean air. A lot more difficult to deal with 2 tires when you're back in traffic.
Now let's go back to Kyle Busch's pit and learn more about what happened there. Matt?
And Mike, during the stop on that left rear, when the rear changer, Jake Seminara, went to hit the lugs after Kenny Barber, the carrier, had indexed that up on the hub. As you can see, Ortho Carolina specialist down here talking to Kenny Barber. His wrist, he's got a stinger. He says he should be fine going back to work. But what happened was the gun had been reversed. So when Seminara went to hit the lugs, he was actually zipping the lugs off of the studs. And the carrier, Kenny Barber, was trying to put those lugs back up. They dropped the jack, and then you saw what happened.
Now Kyle Busch has a replacement wheel and no apparent damage because he's outrunning passing cars and made it in line for the restart. He is still on the lead lap.
Yeah, if you're going to have damage, have it on the left side. You don't. That right side's kind of sacred. There's so much side force over there. This probably will not hinder him all that much.
Still will give him a long way to go. As we watch Ryan Blaney 15th trying to hold off Jamie McMurray.
Yeah, other than the track position he lost, came in as the leader, went out, I don't know, where's he running? Way back in the back, 29th.
Now we've checked with NASCAR. There is no in-race penalty for this type of occurrence. However, it is covered in the NASCAR rule book, Larry.
Yeah, what it says, loss of wheel due to improper installation will result in a mandatory minimum 4-race suspension of the crew chief, tire changer, and tire carrier pertaining to the lost wheel.
Wow.
And Mike, I think that rule may have been put in the rule book back when they were leaving lug nuts loose, when we're only hitting 2 or 3, you know. I think that's what NASCAR put that in there for. I think the interpretation of this coming out of the pits might be a little bit different.
Well, we'll find out likely Tuesday or Wednesday. But for now, Kyle Busch remains on the lead lap, currently in 28th place, 10.5 seconds behind leader Martin Truex.
You saw it right there. We're going to see a lot of this today. A big moment for the 3 car of Austin Dillon as he landed down in the corner. As that car got into the banking, the back end just stepped right out, got really loose.
Yeah, the signal.
Talk about loose. Look at Ryan Blaney come off of turn 4. Sorry, DW.
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, the signal for the driver to go is when they drop the jack. The driver, that's his key to go. When the jack falls, he accelerates out of the pit. So they couldn't stop him. He was already accelerating forward, so only choice he had was to go around.
It's a combination of the jack dropping and the crew chief or somebody saying stop. If they say stop, then you'll stop. He's working on the gun, trying to get it reversed back to, boy, you see his hand, that carrier's hand was up in the fender well, trying to hold that tire. As he stepped on the gas, it spun it around.
Matt has more.
And Mike, it's all about timing here on pit road. And the Jackman, peripherally, he has an eye both on the front and the rear changers. When he sees them going in and trying to hit the lugs, when he feels like they've hit 4, timing-wise, that's when he starts to drop the jack. The changer then hits the 5th, and they're good to go. When all that started going wrong, it was just a perfect storm.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Well, it's all timed out. In order to do an 11-second or 10-second now, some days, stop, everything is timed out perfectly. So there's little signals. It's not as if your eyes are just on one specific thing, even though it looked like the Jackman was looking more towards the front than the back. Maybe out of the corner of his eye, he saw a key moment that he thought they're in. The changer is in there hitting those lug nuts. Unfortunately, the gun was going the wrong way.
I remember at Darlington years ago, one of the greatest pairings in history ended when David Pearson didn't understand the Wood brothers were going to do a 4-tire change, and after the rights were put on, the lefts were loose and Pearson took off. Both left sides fell off at the end of pit road, and the Wood brothers and David Pearson were history.
Yeah, we used to have a breaker, and that was a person that came to the left side, broke the lug nuts loose on the left side, then changed the left rear tire. As a matter of fact, Chad Knaus was one of those that used to do that for Hendrick.
You know, guys, I know we've only been back racing for about 15 laps. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that 17 just lost 2nd place. But still, that strategy seems to be working. But more than anything, for Joey Logano, Todd Gordon, that 22 car, because they've kind of just leveled off right there, still well inside the top 10. Based on where they started, that seems to be a pretty big gain, at least for now.
Yeah, Larry, I heard Joey say yesterday afternoon after practice that the last practice, the last run, they really hit on something that woke the car up. So maybe that setup they got in the car and a little strategy here, and they could be a factor before this day is over with.
35 laps complete. Martin Truex Jr., our leader, over Kurt Busch. Let's take a look at the AARP keys to the drive.
This is one of the toughest pit roads that we visit, but the easiest to make mistakes on. There are more opportunities to have an issue than to gain position, so be careful taking risks on this treacherous pit road. Hang it out, but hang on to it. The driver that can handle a loose race car the longest will produce the most speed. Nobody has done this better than 10-time Dover winner Jimmie Johnson. Do better than him, your chances to go to victory are almost certain. And it takes a couple of laps for air pressures and optimal grip to come in. Be aggressive early and get a run to make those passes. But if that doesn't work out, be patient. The groove will widen out on those longer runs, and those passing opportunities will present themselves again.
Like this one for 14th place, Ryan Blaney on last week's winner, Austin Dillon.
I think it's so critical for that 3-car to run good today. You know, you won last week, you won on fuel strategy, great strategy, it won you the race. But come back today and just show that wasn't a fluke. He ran in the top 10 all last week. And today, just get up there and run the top 10.
And what I love, DW, about this sport is, yes, okay, they played an excellent strategy, won that race on fuel mileage, but that win, that confidence, that momentum can turn into more great finishes and possibly more wins.
See, what I love about a fuel mileage race, people complain about it. I think it's the best. I think it's when that shows how good your team is. Everybody had to do their job right. The gas man had to get it full. The engine tuner had to have the engine tuned. The crew chief had to make the call. The pit crew had to make the pit stop. It's everybody involved is how you win a fuel mileage race.
Let's go back to 20th place. Before the pit stop, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was wrecking loose. So let's go to Jamie Little with a nationwide Dale Jr. performance report.
And Dale Jr. was 11th when he came in for that pit stop, and all they did was change 4 tires, but the button stuck on the pit gun, and that cost them big time, and that's why he fell back to 18th on the restart. Right now, you see him fighting that wheel. Dale Jr. saying he just has no rear grip, Mike.
Wow.
Well, I think back to yesterday when these teams practiced to prepare for this race. It was overcast, track temperatures much cooler, a lot more grip in this racetrack. Now we've got warmer temperatures, sun's popping out from time to time, and that track is heating up. That rubber's laying down, and the grip level is not there.
Looking at Clint Boyer just in front of Austin Dillon. Boyer told me this morning he got a little over enthusiastic in qualifying, and so had to start very deep in the field. But they had gained a lot during practice, and he thought he had a good car for the day. Started 22nd, Boyer up 5 spots, now to 17. 43 laps complete. Here's the big news so far. Kyle Busch makes his pit stop under caution and loses. The left rear wheel goes from first to worst. Caution, kapow. Ricky Stenhouse went down the back straightaway. Remember, he did not stop at lap 18 with everybody else, and 30 laps later, the right front tire is cut down, and he went straight off and into the wall. Look way to the right, already up and in the wall with significant damage. He was running third.
And we talked about this is the set of tires that they qualified on, so already had some laps, and he was running that high line that's very abrasive on those right side tires.
Jamie.
And Kyle Larson getting the countdown into his pit box. They're saying right sides only for the 42. Meanwhile, Kurt Busch in the 41 car was getting just a little bit loose, bad on entry, but he worked his way up to second. Looks like it'll be a 4-tire stop perhaps, unless they call an audible, Matt.
And 80% of the racetrackers are now being used. Truex was really loose on that first run. Car much better, out in cleaner air this run. The 19 of Daniel Suarez. He needs help on the short run. The car's too free. He worked the track bar adjuster over those last few laps.
Very narrow pit boxes here, so a lot of sharp turns, both in and out. 2 tire changes for Kyle Larson, and Matt Kenseth put them up front.
Got 2 tires, good strategy.
That worked well for Joey Logano. on the last caution. He took 2 and held his own. 49 laps complete. We're under caution in Dover. Ricky Stenhouse makes repairs. We're going to get ready to restart, but going to the back. Chase Elliott too fast exiting his pit, and Denny Hamlin had an uncontrolled tire on his stop. Hamlin is back in for a little cosmetic repair, but you're going to watch right here.
Just
Be ready.
It's kind of a bad throw, but it doesn't leave the box. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was uncontrolled, but it never left the box.
I think if it goes to the other side of the car, I think it's there's some interpretation there.
Jamie, what about Ricky Stenhouse?
Well, this is the right front that just came off, and NASCAR officials and Goodyear down here, they don't see a puncture mark, and the team just told me this is just a tire failure because of how it's separated on the inside. And you see Mike Kelly, the card chief, taking a look at it now.
Yeah, real quick, guys, before the car leaves, the tire has to be on the inside half of the box. That was on the outside half. That's the reason, uncontrolled tire.
Thanks, Larry. It'll be Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. at the front. Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Suarez, Keselowski, Jones, Hamlin, Harvick, Johnson, the top 10.
42 got a great start from that outside.
Really important for him to get down in front of the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., use that clean air, and those 2 tires can pay off.
Yeah, you see Martin push up off turn 2. Here comes Kurt Busch up the inside. Martin couldn't keep his car on the bottom off 2 and open the door for that 41 car. That 41 cars look pretty good early on here, guys.
Yeah, he's one of those cars that's real good on those lower air pressures.
I'll tell you who was super aggressive on that restart. Jamie McMurray took him 3 wide, down in 1 and 2, passed about 3 cars. Boy, he and Kyle Larson, they like that high side, don't they?
They do, and I tell you, don't look back too far into the field here, because that 48 car is already up to the nice spot, and he's coming fast.
Matt Kenseth, last year's winner of this race, in 5th. Vince?
Yeah, it's been an eventful day already for Kenseth. Started 4th, fell back to 12th, lost a couple of spots on their first pit stop. It was so loose on that first run that Matt thought they maybe had a tire going down, and even they've had a little contact with the 1. But right now it's snugged up enough, and Kenseth a little bit happier with that 20 machine right now.
Keeping up with Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, who lost a wheel on the first stop. He's climbed to 16th. Coming back up through the field.
Mike, it's so easy to get run over here because you anticipate the guy in front of you. He's in the gas, he's going, but he has to get out of the gas for a second, and you get into the back of him. You really have to keep an eye on that guy in front of you all the time.
McMurray trying to make a move on Joey Logano, this time to the bottom.
We talked about that lane can open up. The driver might move up the racetrack and give you that open lane on the inside, but to complete that pass, so difficult, as you saw right there with McMurray.
6th place, Kevin Harvick looks inside of Daniel Suarez. Vince?
Yeah, just been fighting loose in for that 4 car of Harvick. Some of that they thought was because of the tires, the starting the race on those scuff tires. But after they came in and made that initial pit stop and put 4 on it, he was still experiencing a loose condition. So an air pressure adjustment on that last stop. We'll see if it makes a difference for Kevin Harvick.
Harvick to 6 now. Here comes Jimmy Johnson for 7th.
As I watch Jimmy Johnson go underneath Daniel Suarez, I just think of how close that was on that first caution when Ryan Sieg came down the racetrack and nearly clipped the 19 of Daniel Suarez. I think he's hoping the rest of his day is quite that lucky.
48 had to change gears this morning. I think they put the passing gear in it.
He's always got the passing gear here, doesn't he?
He is coming in a hurry.
Saw Eric Jones there at 9th. Casey Kane rounds out the top 10.
I asked Jimmy Johnson before he left our pre-race down the Hollywood Hotel, and I said, well, how long before you get there? He said, well, I'd like to be in the top 10 by the end of that first stage. He might do a little more than that.
I think he's going to be in the top 5, maybe leading this thing.
13th place, Murray Logano.
You can see how the track just takes you wide as you come off that corner. Boy, McMurray used up every inch of it trying to stay out of Logano. How impressive is this by Kyle Busch? All the issue they had on pit road, went to the back, had to repair the damage, and now he's battling for 15th.
I just think adversity, he rises to the occasion. When you throw adversity at him, when things don't go his way, that emotion that he shows works to his advantage. I think it really motivates him.
I like what you said too, DW. That team never bobbled. They never got wound up.
Stenhouse in the wall again, this time turn 4.
Yeah, I was worried about that right front. It was really knocked in a long way, and I think he just cut another right front tire down, it looked like.
He had made it up to 33rd after heavy right front damage in turn 3 that brought out the prior caution.
You'll see him coming off turn 4 here. He's going to be up high. He's going to be on the bottom when it starts, but you can see the car right back here. It takes off, and it hits the wall hard right here. Bam!
Thank goodness for safer barriers.
You know, as much as these cars are handling bad, they would love to come and get 4 more Goodyear tires, but they only have 9 sets of tires to work with, including that set they started the race. They've already used a third of them, so I think for that reason, you're going to see most of them stay out. We still have well over 300 laps to go, and they only have 6 sets of tires left.
And Larry, I love that. Tire management. It should be part of how you strategize your race. Manage your tires. Don't just throw tires on every time a caution comes out. I like that.
The free passes today have gone to Jeffrey Earnhardt, Cole Witt, and Ross Chastain running, I believe, his first Cup race in the number 15 that's usually driven by Reed Sorensen.
Mike, I asked one of the crew chiefs this morning, I said, so what's different about that 48 car and everybody else's? He said, Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson he just got this joint dialed in, buddy. Up to 7th place already.
63 laps complete of 400 here in Dover. Let's have a look at today's Ford Performance track facts. Richard Petty raced for Ford for 1 season in his illustrious career, and he was the winner in the first race here, 1969, in a Petty blue Ford Torino Talladega. The last Ford driver to sweep both the spring and fall Dover races was Bill Elliott in 1988.
Piece of trash on the hood pin of that 41 won't hurt anything.
Well, next week we go from the Monster Mile to NASCAR's Tricky Triangle in eastern Pennsylvania.
I'm really looking forward to the all-driver broadcast at Pocono.
It's definitely a different perspective. Usually they send a cute pit reporter down.
I feel like I should be the best with Jamie Little coaching me.
You send a guy like Ricky down or something, them guys ain't gonna want to talk much.
Basically, as long as I don't say boom goes the dynamite at any point in time, it will be okay.
Saturday it'll be on Fox, the Xfinity race with an all-driver commentary crew. All of us, Adam Alexander, Michael Waltrip, we're all fired for the day. And Kevin Harvick will do my job. Clint Boyer will be Daryl. Joey Logano will be Jeff. Danica Patrick's going to have the keys to the Hollywood Hotel with Denny Hamlin. Stenhouse, Blaney, and Jones will be on pit road, and that's on the Fox network. It's a great experiment.
That's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to be entertained by that.
Yes.
You know what I heard, Jeff? If it works out real good for them, we're going to drive their cars and they're going to do our job.
Hey now, that'd be fun.
That would be fun. We'll probably have as much success.
I want Jimmy Johnson's car.
Depending on where we're going.
Looking out David Reagan's car, a little side view out the windowsill. Looking at Cole Witt as we get ready to go green. 64 of 120 laps complete in stage 1. Larson and Kurt Busch, Chevy Ford up front, Truex Keselowski, Kenseth Harvick, Johnson, Suarez, Jones, Kane, the top 10.
Nice start there that time. Both cars pretty even coming across the line. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Man.
Hold brake.
And hard in the wall, Keselowski.
We talked about how hard that is to make that pass on the bottom like that on cold tires. That was just unfortunate.
Well, and also, you know, they didn't come to pit road, so they picked up some of that rubber, and it built up on those tires. And we talked about the lack of downforce. It's very easy to get in there and get the car loose in that situation.
Brad Keselowski, for the second week in a row, gets taken out through no fault of his own. He's in 4th place there.
You just watch this 41 car on the bottom, and as we said, he stayed out on, everybody's out on those tires. They got a lot of debris built up on them, and man, he just got up the hill and got into the side of the 2 car and put him in the wall.
I mean, Kurt did an excellent job correcting, and he was going to be fine. Unfortunately, Brad Keselowski was to the outside of him.
2 weeks in a row. Here's Keselowski's radio.
I don't know what the hell happened there. He got loose underneath you. He just got loose underneath you. You went around side. He hooked and made a right turn into us.
Pretty much what happened.
Outside 41 in the fence. Keep stay low, stay low, stay low, stay low. You're good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brad Keselowski was just an innocent victim in that one.
Again. Keselowski to the garage after 66 laps. Brad Keselowski out of his car and understandably frustrated, being taken out early in the race for the 2nd week in a row. Now we're going to listen to how Andy Houston, that's Austin Dillon's spotter, helped him with our Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage.
Wreck it here. Stay low, stay low. Stay on the 31 door here. Stay on the low, 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 low. You're good there. Just watch. Keep coming.
That's how Houston helped Dillon worry less on that restart.
Remember I told you these restarts are treacherous?
We just saw it.
They're pretty treacherous.
Yeah, and this one's going to be treacherous too, DW, because even more tire rubber has built up on these tires. Hard to get it cleaned off under caution.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody do what the spotter and this crew chief always remind me, clean them up, clean them up. You see the 20 car up there of Kansas, he's doing it, but everybody else pretty mind their manners.
Have to be super
aggressive. They
aggressive.
got 78 move around here a little bit, so I guess they're pretty comfortable with what they got.
Larson Truex, Harvick Kenseth, Johnson Suarez, green flag.
Saw Martin Truex Jr. He was in the same situation as Kurt Busch, but he did a nice job being patient with it.
Yeah, he let that 42 down in front of him. That could have been disastrous.
And Kyle Busch took him 3 wide into turn 1. He's coming back to the front. He is 8th. There he is on the outside.
Yeah, that damage on the left rear, I don't think it'll hurt that car that much. Nothing's really sticking out, and all you really worry about is the right side of these cars.
Kyle Larson back to the lead on the
he's
outside.
Driving hard to keep that lead. He knows he needs that clean air.
That's what these cars do, Mike. They're a little loose in, but they start pushing a little bit off the corner and jump sideways, just like we saw there with the 42.
Back under green with less than 50 to go in this first stage. Ricky Stenhouse has taken his Ford to the garage. Here's Jamie.
And he has been checked and released. And Ricky, I checked with your team after the first incident. They said it was a tire failure. What happened the second time?
Same thing. You know, our little hug, Fruit Barrels Ford, was really fast. It was nice to be running the top 5. You know, this track's tough. We saw a couple tire issues yesterday after the first run, after we qualified on them. I don't know if we ran over something, but we'll look at it. Really looking forward to coming back here, you know, in the fall. Feel like we got a really good package, and you know, this is in the playoffs, first round, so feel really good about what we learned this weekend.
Thanks, Jamie. Jimmy Johnson started last. He is now in the top 5.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we saw Kevin Harvick working on Matt Kenseth. Matt was really good practice yesterday. Oh, I love this camera shot. But we go back here to Kevin Harvick. You know, he really did a nice job here over the last couple of years of dominating this race, leading a lot of laps. Here we go for a battle for the lead.
Truex again.
Yeah, 78's a little bit better right now. The 42 a little loose, looks like off of the corner. Now 78, Martin Truex Jr. going to take advantage of that.
Well, I'm curious to see how hard Kyle Larson is going to fight for this position. He knows keeping that clean air is important. He'll open up the bottom and make life very difficult for Martin Truex.
See, but that's the difference than Kyle Larson at 42, and we saw Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick. Kenseth let Harvick get in front of him. He didn't challenge him. This kid right here, he's going to challenge you every lap of the race.
Martin Truex says, hey, this is my house.
Well, and that might be why Kyle Larson's battling so hard for this position. He knows if he gives Martin Truex Jr. that clean air and that advantage by being up front, it's going to be even harder to beat him today.
Well, this should not be an even battle because Larson only got 2 tires on the stop. Truex got 4.
Yeah, he's opening the bottom up and allowing Martin Truex to get to the bottom. But you see Truex just a little wiggly loose getting in there. It's just so hard to get under somebody and not get loose.
Well, to have a fast race car, to have a car that rolls through the center really well, it has to be free. But what does that do? It makes it very difficult to get underneath somebody to complete that pass. Matt?
And now he's really working good on the inside of the 42, trying to get the momentum down the backstretch. He simply said about a lap ago, if we wreck, it's simply going to be his fault.
And I think what Martin's frustrated with, and I would be too, is I'm faster than you are. We got a long way to go here, dude. So why are you racing me so hard at this point in the race?
He's heating things up here. You saw that was an aggressive move. He put his right front fender right to the left rear of Kyle Larson to say, hey, buddy, I'm right here. I can make life easy or difficult.
It's not going to be easy for either one of them. Martin is better off the corner. Larson a little bit better into the corner. That's why they come together when they exit.
Larry Mack, you want your driver racing this hard, this early in the race?
Well, that's the only way we're going to know what we've got. And just think about it. This is the first time we've been to Dover and had stage racing.
Hey, Larry, you know what you got? You got the bumper. I mean, that's just common sense right there. You're holding me up. I'm faster than you are. I think I would move over and let the 78 go.
That was almost big for Kyle Larson. He got really loose getting into the corner.
Here's another look. You know, if we still had chrome bumpers, we'd call that giving him the chrome horn.
I think he just gave him a little warning, and then he gave him a little shot.
And he was right on his bumper as the 42 of Larson started to turn down the corner, and that's where the back end gets really light.
And Mike, you know, you talk to Martin Truex Jr., you don't think about him being a really aggressive guy, but you get aggravated. You get annoyed. Come on, kid. Cut me some slack.
But this is exactly what happens. Once you lose that lead, look how you start losing other positions.
Yeah.
Well, there's been about 35 others that have lost position. That 48 is up to 3rd place.
Kevin Harvick to 2nd, Jimmy Johnson to 3rd. Vince.
Boy, Chad Canals has made a couple of good adjustments on that 48. Not that he wasn't fast to begin with, but Jimmy says after the adjustments, the car is firing off better. It's a lot more secure. The ride quality has improved. Those are the adjustments that have allowed the 48 to cut through this field like a hot knife through butter. He is on the move.
And the only adjustment I can think of that's going to help those things that he mentioned is air pressure. Lowering down those air pressures allows the car to absorb the bumps and allows it to maybe take off a little bit faster.
Sticker tires. That's what helps him. Air pressure, sticker tires.
It's not our fault that you can't pass us and we're leaving it by a lane and a half. Well, we just need to remember that later. If that's how he wants to race us, that's how we should race him.
Now, that's the last thing that young man like that needs to hear. We'll get him later. He just needs to settle in here. He's got a fast car. He'll come back.
If this race goes anything like it did last year, he might
be up there. Yeah, you're right.
So Kyle Larson now back to 4th after this. Here's Martin Truex Jr. with a little bump and run to take the lead in Dover. Martin Truex Jr., your leader by 1.8 over Kevin Harvick. Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson, Clint Boyer up into the top 5 after a bump and run on Matt Kenseth. I'm reminded I was in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. Look where these 3 drivers were when they ended up crashing. Kurt Busch got loose on a restart. Stenhouse cut a tire, went into the wall, and Brad Keselowski's run of bad luck continues. Back at Charlotte, Jeffrey Earnhardt lost a rear pinion. It went through Chase Elliott's car, and there was the 2 right behind Elliott, piling in and out of the race. Today on the restart, Kurt Busch gets loose and slides up into Keselowski, into the wall, and out of the race. Jamie.
And 2 weeks in a row, he's out before stage 1 is even over. What happened there? You saw the replay, Brad.
I'm not 100% sure. It looked like something happened where Kurt got loose. There really wasn't anywhere to go. I saw him getting loose, and I tried to fade up the racetrack to give him some room, but it came back across. And we hit pretty hard with the work forward fusion. It's a shame. I think in the last 2 weeks we've had pretty solid cars and running up towards the front, but you know, it's a little bit of bad luck. That's part of how racing goes sometimes. Sometimes you catch the good brakes, and sometimes you catch the bad brakes. And, you know, from there, it looks like you probably just got a little arrow loose. Something else just happened here, so just part of it.
Thanks, Brad. Yep, yellow was out. 41 was suffering, but they were trying to stay out there, guys, until a caution. He was the caution.
Karma, maybe. Car wrecked, certainly, for Kurt Busch.
Pretty ironic that just happened while Brad Keselowski was analyzing the wreck.
I believe that's a left rear. It kind of looks like the left rear, the way the left quarter pound all is blown off the car. It's almost like something happened.
Yeah, left rear tire definitely went.
Just shredded that tire and, of course, turned the car right around.
You know, those are some of the things as a driver why you like that 5-minute clock, why you prefer to just be in the garage area instead of driving around with a wrecked race car, because something like this could happen when that sheet metal is hanging off the race car.
It's like a grinding. That tire is like a big grinding wheel, man.
Yeah,
it just rips the car apart.
So this is 2 times now today. We had that with Stenhouse when they tried to repair the right side, probably cut his right side tire. This repair caused his left rear to shred.
Look at that whole left side of that car torn off just by the tire blowing up.
Miles the Monsters had seconds for lunch. Vince?
Pit stops the 14 of Clint Boyer, said the car is turning well, but many others on the track, including Matt Kenseth, complaining that the 14 might be dropping fluid. We'll keep an eye on that as the 5 of Casey Kane rolls off. Matt.
And cars continue to hit pit road. The 21, you can see Ryan Blaney wants a chassis adjustment. Going to make a significant track bar change. He said the car took off much better rear grip this past run for the 21.
Clint Boyer, the first one off pit road. A lot of drivers chose not to stop. And for the first time in the spring race at Dover in 17 years, we've had 5 caution flags within the first 100 laps. Kurt Busch hard into the wall. Looks like his day is done.
Time for a KFC Zinger race break with Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, 99 of 400 laps / miles. Kyle Busch early, your leader, your pole sitter, but problems with a wheel.
Yeah, the left rear air gun was reversed. The changer was in there hitting nuts, but they were flying off instead of on. You see the tire falls off.
Fell to 35th. Now he's back up to 14th. Restart on lap 66. Kurt Busch loose, tries to save correction into Brad Keselowski.
And Chris, you just have to understand these cars are on the edge of control every lap, and when you get hit going down the straightaway, it could mean payback later. Truex knocking Larson out of the way.
Terrific move as they battle towards the end. We're still narrowing stage 1. Kurt Busch still reeling from that earlier. That was amazing just how that blew up like that without hitting anything, obviously, from earlier, the tire doing the damage.
What about those dramatic camera shots we get here on FS1? What action that showed how fast they're going in the corner. When something goes wrong, it goes wrong in a hurry.
And Clint Boyer, who showed some speed, leaking oil now, heading to the garage.
That's a tough sign because he had driven into the top 5. I was going to pick him for my favorite for the rest of this race. I know Clint. I know how much he loves this racetrack. He had a good car, but it's not going to be today.
We also know Jimmie Johnson going for his 11th win at Dover started last. He's worked his way all the way up to 3rd and looks like he has one of the fastest cars here.
No doubt, and he's running that Jimmie Johnson lane just tucked right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Dale Jr. has a setup similar to his. He can't make it work so far today. Be interesting to see with adjustment, can Jr. get as good as Jimmie is? That's the fastest car it looks like so far.
Yeah, now what have you seen in terms of some of the favorites other than Jimmie Johnson? You see Harvick and Truex that have not gotten near the front.
Well, I just think there's a lot to go on during the course of this race. Kyle Larson on a tire strategy. And remember this, Chris, some of these guys chose not to get tires here. There's a limited allotment of tires. You use them all in the first third of the race, could be trouble in the second 2/3.
And Larson currently running 12th. Kenseth is 10th. They're cleaning up some of that oil and debris on the track. Martin Truex Jr. has led the most laps. That's your KFC.
Welcome back to Dover. 18 laps to go in stage 1. A number of drivers staying out, partly because of the limited tire allotment, not pitting, and also trying to pick up some stage points. Timmy Hill could have been one of those, but he'll drop back on the restart. But up in the top 10, Trevor Bayne is up there without having stopped. So is Landon Castle. Matt?
Mike, back in the garage area with Clint Boyer and the 14 guys. They're underneath the car working on it. Clint, you were leaking fluid. What happened?
Yeah, it looks like a fitting broke in the oil tank. It's kind of a freak deal, but these guys take so much, so much pride in what they do building these race cars. I mean, you can't ask for much more. The guys worked their tails off this week on our Haas Automation Ford. We were forced to be reckoned with. The start 22nd, get up in the top 5 and race our way there. I mean, we were going to be fine doing exactly what we needed to do, get on our stage points. This, unfortunately, a freak deal took us out, but if we keep doing that and working together as a team and, running in the top 5, we'll get back up there where we need to be.
Thanks, Clint. Mike?
7th driver in the top 10 to have a big issue today, most of which ended up in the garage. Now, that's a mechanical problem. They could make repairs and return. Truex, Harvick, Bayne, Johnson, Buscher, Castle all did not stop from Austin Dillon in the 3 on back. They have new tires. So here we go.
Should be pretty interesting on this restart with these cars up in there that don't have tires. Man, they are getting, they are getting eaten up down the back straightaway right now.
DW, did you see that? I just saw Matt Kenseth go 3 wide on the restart. He is aggressive. There goes
You mean
Larson.
like that?
We expect Larson. We expect a rookie like Eric Jones, but not Matt Kenseth this early in the race.
Landon Castle 10th, trying to hang on to a stage point. He'll drift a little further back. Wow, comers and goers mid-pack. Lots of them. Look at that snarl right there.
It reminds me when Larry was spotting for me one time. Inside, outside. Conveyor belt with friends.
15 to go in stage 1. 4th place, Matt Kenseth passing Trevor Bayne, who did not stop.
These guys on new tires like Kenseth and Larson, they're coming fast.
I think it's a tribute to those guys that stayed out on those old tires that these guys are able to get around him without a lot of issues.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne in 6th, Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, Harvick in 2nd, Truex in 1st. Did not make pit stops. 13 to go in this first stage. Let's go back and show you 2 restarts ago. Watch the 41 of Kurt Busch, the red and black car, the Haas Automation car up front. Get down to turn 1, and the back end comes around, and then he collects Brad Keselowski and spins. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch had a good car. It was fast. As you saw, he worked his way up to 2nd. You just saw the replay for the first time. What led to that? Your car seemed so good before getting loose.
And the car was great. I just got to apologize to all the guys. I went down into 1 and trusted it to stick, and it just went loose on me and shot up the track and clipped Brad and ruined Brad's day. Really fast car. The guys did their homework, and the driver just messed up, and then the vibration I had, I should have pitted. So you make 2 quick mistakes and your day's done in this game. It's Monster Energy Cup, and you got to be on your game, and I wasn't on my game today, so I apologize to my guys.
Kurt Busch will finish 37th.
I don't know how many times I've seen that in Charlotte and here today. Cars doing just what Kurt's did. They just jump out from under you unexpectedly.
8th place. Eric Jones, the rookie, moving on Trevor Bayne. Jones turned 21 this Tuesday.
Well, ever since that issue on pit road for Kyle Busch, he's been on his game.
How about Daniel Suarez? 1 spot away. No, he's about to get into the top 10 and score some stage points here, Matt.
Working that inside line earlier in the race, Mike, when he was restarting near the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, his spotter, Chris Osborne, who years ago used to spot for Jimmy, told him just get in your rhythm and follow that 48. This is his first Cup Series start. He's had success in Xfinity and trucks here, but his first Cup Series start here, especially with this downforce package we got. Jeff, do you remember that day? Your first start here when you finished 18th? How tough is this place for a rookie?
Oh my goodness, so tough. unless you're Jimmy Johnson. He won both of his races in his first year he came here. But, yeah, this place is really, really tough to get a hold of and to know what you need to go fast here all day.
I tell you, the kid that just absolutely got no give up in him, and he'll fight you for every position. That 42 car of Kyle Larson, it don't matter if you're running first or 15th, you're not going to drive by him without a fight.
Trevor Bayne hanging on for dear life on those old tires. He's now slid to 16th. The front 4 drivers are the winners of the last 4 races here. Truex, Harvick, Johnson, and Kenseth. And then 1 year ago, that great battle at the finish between Kyle Larson and Matt Kenseth, those 2 drivers.
Well, that's what Kyle Larson did not have a year ago, which was the outside of Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth protected that outside. This time, Kyle Larson gets up, makes the pass.
And here comes Casey Kane.
Yeah,
He's got a good record
a nice
here.
Run.
Yep.
I talked to Keith Rodden this morning. He said they changed everything on that car that you can imagine. Trying to find the right setup for the race today. Looks like they may have it pretty good. We talk about Kyle Larson different than last year and this year. Last year it was Mr. Kenseth. This year it's Matt.
Well, he is coming right now on those fresher tires.
3rd place. Done. 4 to go.
Yeah, he's not going to have enough time unless the caution were to come out, and even then we probably would end this stage under caution to get all the way up to Truex, but he's going to get to 2nd, goes the outside of Harvick.
Boy, you get so much momentum. When you can make that outside work the way you just saw there, you just get such a run down the straightaway.
Well, it's interesting watching that 42 car, how it rides over the bumps. Looks like the back of his car is really soft in the way it absorbs those bumps and has a little bounce to it as it goes into the corner.
Well, he drives sprint cars. Just think about, though, they go through big holes. They go through chug holes on the track.
Yeah, now watch the back of this car, how much it moves down the straightaway and right here. Those are big swells and bumps in turn 3.
You know, every track has its own character, and that develops over time. Wonder how much the 42 team learned winning yesterday's race here about the character of this track and how to set up for it.
A year ago and yesterday.
Yes. Clint Boyer is back in the race. They've made that mechanical repair, and Boyer's back out 18 laps down. 6th place here.
Well, let's remember, these drivers that we're seeing come up through here on new tires, that's one less set of tires they're going to have for the rest of this race.
And I think they'll be forced to stay out at the end of this stage, Jeff.
Final lap, stage 1. Jeffrey Earnhardt goes a lap down with a new sponsor. And pulling down on Timmy Hill, racing Carl Long's car. But Hill stays on the lead lap.
Boy's giving that car a heck of a ride today. Just stayed on the lead lap.
Martin Truex, the league's biggest stage winner this year, notches his 7th mid-race stage. Martin Truex wins stage 1 and leads them on to pit road. Vince.
Well, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson says it's getting looser as the run goes, and the ride quality not quite as good. They're going to make a chassis adjustment there. He pitted from 5th place. As far as the 4 of Kevin Harvick is concerned, not bad, but he wants a little more grip. 4 tires. Matt?
Martin Truex Jr. like Pac-Man eating up the bonus points with stage wins. Great debate and a great call by Cole Pern and Martin Truex to stay out. They knew where they were going to have to hang on. They're getting fresh tires now. They're going to be buried deep in the pack. But if it goes green for a long period of time, this is going to work out perfect for them. 5 sets left here in the pits.
Truex had a tire flat spotted, then I saw them take off that car, but that could have happened sliding into the pit, not out on the racetrack.
What do you say we dial up our stage winner there? Hey, Martin, this is Jeff up in the FS1 booth. You got me?
Got you, Jeff.
Well, congratulations, 7th stage winner of the year. You certainly know how to get it done in these stages. You got to be aware of all the chaos going on all around you with the leaders and up front, but you're making it look so easy, man. How do you do it? What's your mindset right now?
Yeah, it's been a little bit wild, a lot of caution. You know, we feel like we've used a lot of tires already. That's why we opted to stay out there. So we'll see. We'll just see how it all plays out. You know, I mean, It's a long race. It's a tough racetrack. You gotta kind of keep it a little bit calm here. But car's been pretty good. It's a handful, but balance is decent. So we'll just keep working on it here and see what we got.
All right, well, congrats and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, buddy. You guys have fun up there. I'm sure you are.
Daniel Suarez got stage points for just the second time this year, and Kyle Busch rebounded from that lost wheel to score stage points in one. Getting ready for the restart, let's join Jamie Little down at the eBay Motors pit box.
Well, Mike, you guys have been talking about him. The rookies once again impressing early on in this race. Rookie Eric Jones, he's in 5th right now. He's a guy to keep your eye on. It's been an interesting weekend for him. Yesterday in the first Cup practice, he spun all by himself. His crew chief, Chris Gale, told me they never found that speed they needed. Then in the Xfinity Series, he lost the first engine ever driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Today, he has been solid. Got his first Xfinity Series win here last year, hoping to get his first Cup win here today. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. This will be an interesting restart. Let's look where our rookies are. Beginning with Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez and Gray Galding. None of them stopped at the end of stage 1. Ty Dillon 21st. First timers. Ross Chastain still on the lead lap in 26th. Ryan Sieg in 35th among those making their Cup debut. The Delco restart zone, they clear that and come to green.
Boy, that 42 shot out of there like he's out of a cannon.
This is going to be wild to watch. This is another reason why I love these stages. Mixes up the strategy.
Whoa, Junior got, but Dale Junior just about turned that thing sideways down the middle of 1 and 2. He caught it, but right along beside Jamie McMurray, almost lost it.
The top 12 restarters did not stop. Joey Logano took fuel only. Austin Dillon took 2 tires. Everybody else has 4 new ones. Among those who didn't stop, Kyle Busch at 4th place.
4th place?
Yeah. What a comeback.
That is amazing.
He is. If you're going to have damage, I firmly believe that left rear corner is not a bad place to have that damage he has.
The battle here for 8th place. Daniel Suarez with McMurray, Elliott, and Earnhardt.
All the aerodynamicists watching at home on these race teams are going, maybe we need to look at that left rear.
Yeah, well, the way it's opened up, I mean, it's not no restriction. There's a lot of air out from the car.
Martin Truex. First car on new tires, restarted 13th. He's at 11th.
Haven't seen the speed out of Chase Elliott as we saw a year ago. Maybe they'll make some fine-tune adjustments to get that car a little bit better before this race is over. Eric Jones going for 5th place underneath Casey Kane.
Yeah, you know, we talked to Martin Truex. He said that 77 car and the 78, they're identical. Set up, they set them up both the same way.
Couple of cars backing up through this big pack. You see this wad here coming out of turn number 4. There are a couple of fellows looking for somewhere to hide. Who's that up top? Dale Jr. Way up on the high side.
Yeah, Mike, he was struggling down on the bottom. People were getting up under him and really pushing him up the hill. So I guess he decided I might as well go up here and run, see if there's any grip.
Well, I think he's trying to tighten his race car up. I think he's really loose on the bottom, Jamie.
Exactly right, Jeff. It's been disappointing for this 88 team. They expected to be a little bit better, and Junior was not happy, saying the adjustments aren't making a difference. He said the tires feel like basketballs, and Jeff, like you said, extremely loose in, tight through the middle.
Yeah, I watched his car in practice. I was really impressed. He had a great practice, good speed, qualified well. I was expecting some good things out of Junior today, and the day's not over with yet, but I'm surprised he's not running better than he is.
Well, look at the back of the pack. The day could be over soon for some of these fellows who keep diving into the corner 3 wide as new tires battle old tires.
I think it doesn't take you very long to realize this doesn't work so hot. I got to get single file here because that 3 wide stuff is treacherous.
Here comes Harvick for 12th. He has fresh tires. Chase Elliott does not. Martin Truex and Jimmy Johnson come marching through the field on new tires. They're up to 8th and 10th, respectively.
I kind of like the strategy, though, Mike. You got to manage your tires, and you can't just throw them here. You know, every time a caution comes out, you can't throw tires on these cars. I like the way they're thinking.
Vince.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the conversations that Kevin Harvick and crew chief Rodney Childers have had about the tires and the amount of tires they have left, how they're going through them. Right now, Kevin's pretty happy, just would like a little more grip with the car. No major changes to the 4 right now, and he's got speed.
7th place.
I love how the grooves have widened out. We see Denny Hamlin up high, Martin Truex Jr. right on the bottom. That's what's creating a lot of this great racing and side-by-side racing all the way through this field, and some great passes.
Well, we've had 6 caution flags counting the stage end, so 5 mid-race cautions in stage 1. A lot of teams kept firing on tires, trying to find the right balance, trying to find the right handle. But what does lap 120 pay? Nothing.
Well, some stage points.
Well, but cash dollars, no. Matt?
Mike, Ryan Blaney, the 21, another one of those cars who stayed out last pitting on lap 97. And Ryan told me, although he didn't win Saturday's Xfinity Series race, he learned a lot. Much more transfer over of knowledge from Saturday to Sunday than he told me normally he experiences. The biggest thing is just learning what these cars do with this tire as more and more rubber is put down.
I just think that the more experience you have, I just keep thinking about Matt Kenseth, how well he runs here. At the end of the day, he's a guy that can not only manage his tires, he manages his car. He knows when to go, and he knows when to let somebody go by him. He really runs a smart racer.
Well, and to add to that, DW, his communication with his team on how to stay on top of the track as it changes throughout the day, as the rubber gets laid down, as the grooves move around. I think that's one of the most impressive things to me about Matt Kenseth. Vince?
Well, and one of the things that you guys just talked about is somewhat of a consistent race car, and that's what Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief for Matt Kenseth there on the right-hand side of the screen, told me today. He said, Matt is so good here, but I've got to give him something to work with. If I give him a car that's consistent and he can work with it, we're going to be good all day long, but we can't be chasing it during the day. I think they've hit on something here today.
I think so, too. 7th place, Jimmy Johnson passed Denny Hamlin. You know, I always thought this was a veterans racetrack. Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Richard Petty back in the day, fellas, Darrell Waltrip, fellas like that. But Kyle Larson is the fastest car on the racetrack, and he is pulling away.
Yeah, but he's not won yet. If you look at the history books here, it takes a champion. Other than Martin Truex Jr., it takes a champion to win here, because only champions have won here, what, over the last 16, 17 races?
You know what those older guys of the champions say? Let that kid go on out there and lead this race. We'll see him at the end of the day.
You know what I think when I see the 42 car of Kyle Larson? Future champion.
There you go.
Could be. He is 3.6 seconds up on Kenseth, and that margin grows a 1/10 of a second every lap. Ryan Blaney now 3rd, Kyle Busch 4th, Martin Truex your top 5. There's Timmy Hill in Carl Long's number 66 with the Waltrip Brothers Charity Championship on the hood.
I'm proud of Timmy Hill, but he stayed on the lead lap here a long way into this race, 143 laps. Doing a nice job in that car today.
All right, Larry, so some have stayed out, some have put tires on. You know, what are these guys up front like Kyle Larson, those and Blaney that didn't take tires at the end of that stage? What are they looking to have happen for this to play out well for them?
Jeff, they had 16 laps on their tires when that caution came out. I think what they need is a fairly long green flag run right here, and I think things will somewhat equal out, because right now, though, in the next 10 laps, if a caution comes, I think they all come, because that would get you to the end of stage 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Larry, that they sort of would like to see that caution come out in the next maybe 10, 15 laps. That would work out perfect for them.
Spin, turn 4.
Might have been a little too early there, Larry.
And caution waves. Danica Patrick.
Yeah, just got
nice
sideways.
save.
Kept it out of the wall. Yeah, got sideways down there in the corner and just hung on to it. Kept it out of the wall. Wait, she went.
This place is easy to get loose, not easy to save it and keep it out of the wall.
I've seen a lot of cars that almost spun out.
I do think they will come here.
You think they all come, Larry?
Because this will get you to the end of stage 2.
Yeah,
should we stay?
And the free pass for this, we could be working on a record here for the 5th time in 145 laps, will be Jeffrey Earnhardt. Danica was 25th. Here's what happened to her.
See the car sideways right here coming off turn 4.
That's pretty early. I think that started as she got down into the corner. I bet the back end started to step out, and it came all the way around as they got to the center of the corner.
Yep.
Now, don't rule out some of those guys that did just pit 2 right side tires only. I'd say we may see that.
7 of the top 10 did not come to pit road at lap 123 with the others. Vince?
Well, here comes the 20 of Matt Kenseth, and remember, he has to pit right in front of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, and right in front of Kenseth will be the 1 of Jamie McMurray. Still loose in for Kenseth, Jamie.
And Kyle Larson just built tight a little bit as the run goes on. A 4-tire stop here. No changes. He's using the onboard track bar. Matt?
And that strategy worked out well for Martin Truex Jr. Going to pull a tear off. Better visibility. Meanwhile, the 21 extremely loose near the end of that run. Remember, he stayed out. Pitted last on lap 97. Air pressure change on the 21. The 78 is away.
Kyle Larson to the end of pit road ahead of Matt Kenseth. Kyle Busch. And watch what happened to Ryan Blaney coming onto pit road. Front end of that car nice and clean as he enters the pits. Matt Kenseth just ahead.
Ooh.
Was there contact? Oh boy.
Heavy damage.
Yeah.
I think he was thinking that Matt Kenseth was going to peel off to go into his pit stall.
Yeah, because Kenseth is in the second pit.
What happened is Kenseth stopped. When he got to the commitment line, he stopped, and Blaney was going too fast and couldn't.
Pit road collision between Blaney and Kenseth was because Matt Kenseth wheel hopped, locked up the brake coming onto pit road. Everybody is recovered and repaired. Michael McDowell did not stop, and the Phoenix native is our leader as we go back to green.
That 95 car's had some good runs over the last several weeks. Not real sure he's going to be good here today on those old tires.
He's about to be 3 wide down the back straightaway, I think. Oh, no. Kyle couldn't quite get there.
Well, Kyle's being cautious. He knows that he's got a better car and he's got fresher tires. He'll go by him, but he don't want to take a chance right here.
Matt Kenseth real loose getting into turn 3.
Truex takes advantage, moves up to 4th.
And we've seen a little bit of this out. Sorry, DW, out of Kenseth. His car starts really loose. It seems to come on well as the race goes on.
Ooh, that was almost a disaster between the 8th team.
Kyle Busch had a big backup in turn 2 and almost got collected by Truex.
I am so impressed with Michael McDowell that he's been able to maintain his position so far in these opening laps after that restart.
But you know what I like about it? I mean, he's running the low line. He's giving the outside of these guys, and they got to get around him.
Little team having a great run here. Levine Family Racing. Those are 24-lap tires. Jimmy Johnson down to the inside.
Jimmy is real loose underneath him.
See that happen even to the best drivers here. When you go in the corner underneath somebody, it just sucks you a little bit loose.
Kenseth goes by. Here's Jones now for 7th place. Can't get past him at the entrance to the corner.
No, but that was textbook right there. Yes. That's how you do it. See, he checked up a little early, got down in the corner, got settled into the bank, and then went back to the gas early and squirted by Michael McDowell.
Eighth place now, Ryan Blaney. His team tweeted that they went the wrong way on the wedge on that stop due to a little confusion fixing the damage to the left front of his car.
Tell you what, it was pretty amazing how they popped that dent right back out of that left front fender. I mean, you can hardly tell he made contact with Matt Kenseth.
That's quick lane service right there.
It is.
Yeah.
Good job.
That looks new. Well, new to him.
Michael McDowell really loose as Kevin Harvick got to his rear bumper, and then a battle between Joey Logano and Chase Elliott a little further back.
Yeah, that's because the 95 is holding those guys up. Caused a little bottleneck there. Vince.
You know, I talked to crew chief Rodney Childers for Kevin Harvick before the race. Didn't seem all that optimistic. Was a little concerned how their car might handle today. But the good news for the 4 fans is that Harvick just said, it's getting better. It's It's coming to me, not nearly as loose as we were before.
It's just part of the track changing, Mike. You go through that all the time. We talk about it almost every week, but as the rubber lays down on the racetrack, some cars like it, some cars hate it. Obviously, they've nailed it for the rubber on the track. Track temp right now is up to 120 degrees, 101 when we started, so track temp's pretty high right now.
Yeah, that cloud cover and haze is starting to go away, and that sun's coming out, and it's beating down on this racetrack.
Makes it greasy. Makes that rubber buildup kind of greasy.
Let's check with Larry and our Ford Performance Cutaway car.
Well, guys, the drinking word of the day is loose. We've heard everybody talking about being loose, and I think we felt like it would rear its head here this weekend with this slow downforce aero package. This is a spoiler from last year, 61 inches by 3.5. Now you look at it, they took 1 1/8 inches off the top. Go to the front of the car, they took that downforce away from the front. Overall, we're about 400 to 500 pounds less downforce than last year. I think at a track where you spend 2/3 of the time in the corner, it is definitely showing up today.
Yeah, I mean, folks at home, downforce is grip. It just, downforce pushes your car into the racetrack. When you have less downforce, the car wants to come up off the racetrack.
Yeah, and so far here at Dover today, this is where I've seen it play the biggest role, Larry. Back to what you're saying, and you too, DW talking about the downforce and grip. It has really showed up as cars try to get side by side and how loose they get. Well, wow, look at this trend here for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I think if you change loose wheel to lost wheel, but wow, what a comeback! My goodness. Into the top 10. He earned stage points at the end of stage 1, and he just keeps coming. He led the first 18 laps from the pole.
Mike, he had a great car. He sat on the pole here. He led the first 18 laps, and they had that problem in the pit. It took him a while to overcome it, but here he is, back second place.
This is when Mark Truex Jr. is riding behind Kyle Busch and saying, hey, I thought he had a left rear tire come off on that first pit stop. Where'd he come from?
Yep.
Sometimes you have damage and it hurts the car. I think that damage helped that car.
Here's a Michael McDowell check. Remember, lap 123 is when he was last to pit road. Austin Dillon just gets past McDowell for 18th place.
Michael's got 12 starts here at Dover, so he's been here several times, and that car has had some good finishes over the last few weeks.
Austin Dillon.
What does that remind you of, Mike? Back in the day, Cale Yarborough. Remember that old camera you had up in the car at Daytona that time, shaking like that?
You know what's really cool? Peter Larson, who with John Porter came from Australia to give us those great movable panning and tilting in-car cameras for CBS way back in the 1980s. Peter Larson and his group, now BSI, is still doing it today. So we'll salute them and show off some of their best work with some of these onboard views as we crank it up.
Still there? You're clear. Quarter. Still there. All clear. All the way.
Watching the 7th place battle in front of Kevin Harvick. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin. Toyota versus Ford.
What I saw in this battle is a battle of who's looser than who.
Yeah.
11 goes sideways in the corner, and all of a sudden Ryan Blaney went sideways, and it's like, hey, you're pretty loose. Ooh, I'm a little looser than you.
I tell you, but Mike, this track is so physical. With all the banking, the bumps, and how hard you have to work to get a car around this racetrack at a decent speed, it physically will take its toll on your body.
How disciplined you have to be. It makes you grip that steering wheel really tight because you're just holding on tight and sliding through these corners all the way around here for 400 miles.
Back in the day, we ran 500 miles.
Yeah, nobody's as tough as you guys, and you had to do 500.
This was one of those races when they had to help you out of the car. I mean, it was so physically demanding. They literally had to come over and pick you up and get you out of the car when the race over with.
I'm not sure if this is where Bobby Allison first introduced power steering to then Winston Cup racing.
He gave
sure
DW a little wave out the window with his power steering, and DW didn't have his power steering.
He put his arm out the window and waved at me as he went driving by. I think he did that same thing on that little trotter we were on that day, racing over here. He waved goodbye to all of us.
Now remember when Ryan Blaney got into the back of Matt Kenseth coming onto pit road and did what we thought was some pretty heavy damage. There's Kenseth wheel hopping, trying to get down to pit road speed. There's the bump. There's the damage. Matt, how'd they get it fixed?
Well, when the 21 car hit the box, it damaged that left front corner. You can see it right here. And simply, as Ryan Flores, who comes from up in this area, the front tire changer, he takes that off. Now watch, about 3 pops, boom, 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 pops that right out. Now you can see in the back, the wedge adjustment had been completed because of all that confusion. They went the wrong way, so the car was loose on entry over that run. It's going to be even looser, so he's going to be more cognizant of adjusting with the track bar adjuster, trying to help that entry as this run goes on.
Very nice job of fixing that. All the things they did, fix that dent in the left front fender, put some wedge in the car, change 4 tires, fill them up with fuel, and away he went.
That's pretty amazing. Dover Air Force Base nearby. A lot of our nation's military on hand here to watch the action at Dover.
4 tires, guys. Got a left rear problem here. Yeah, it's off. Left rear's off. Tire rolling out here on the track. Lost the wheel, so ahead of him. That was the 18, yes, sir. Holy crap, I'm not sure what we did to that thing overnight. I think it's just a set of tires. We didn't do that much to it.
A lot of action here at Dover. 7 drivers in the top 10 have come to grief either with the wall or mechanical issues as we watch Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano battle for 11th place. Matt.
Mike, a year ago, Denny Hamlin finished 7th at this event, battling back from an improper fueling penalty. This weekend here, he had the uncontrolled tire penalty on his second stop. Hamlin, one of those drivers, just does not like that loose on entry feeling with this much smaller blade. He's been battling that sensation, and now it's even magnified. The car just so unstable on entry.
Boy, that's 2 guys, though, that we normally would expect 11 and a 22 to be up here fighting for the top 5 anyway. And boy, they have both struggled this whole weekend with their cars.
And just over the last 15, 20 laps, the 11 of Denny Hamlin really has fallen back. He's lost a lot of time. So that condition that he's dealing with is only getting worse as this run goes on.
At the start of this race, Toyota's had all of the front 4 spots. Let's look at our Toyota top performers. As we close in on halfway, Kyle Busch, after losing that wheel, has come all the way back to 2nd. Martin Truex has led 70 laps. He's 3rd. Matt Kenseth in 5th. Eric Jones in 6th. Then Hamlin and Suarez. Riding with Eric Jones, that's Cody Ware. Going a lap down to the 6th place car. And here's Hamlin and Logano continuing to battle. Check in on Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 18th. Jamie?
Yeah, still stuck back there in 18th. Coming into this race, Greg Ives told me they used a little bit of Jimmy Johnson's setup, kind of the best of the 48 and the best of the 88. So it's a hybrid, something that Junior was really happy with, and things that they confirmed on that GM simulator on Thursday. But so far today, he is just terribly loose. He just told Greg, next stop he wants wedge in the left rear, wants to get that left rear up. He thinks that's the only thing that's going to help.
Well, I got to say, I've been there and done that, being a teammate to Jimmy Johnson and seeing him have so much success, be so fast here, watching all of his data, doing everything. And he's been extremely helpful as a teammate over the years to everybody. And I know he's really been working with the 88 and Dale Earnhardt Jr., but he just drives this place different. He drives it in a unique way, and that setup seems to work really well for him. Hard for it to work for anybody else.
I like what they told us in the drive when we're having our pre-race show. You just tell them the truth. And he said, I can tell if a guy's buying what I'm selling or not by looking in his eyes. And he felt like Dale Jr. had really embraced what he was telling him. So I'm surprised 88's not better than it is.
Well, Jimmy Johnson started in the back after they changed a gear last night, a rear end gear. And now he is in 4th place, Vince.
Yeah, it certainly didn't take him long to get toward the front, did it? But Chad Knaus, his crew chief, encouraging Jimmy to stay focused as he gets through traffic, telling Jimmy, I'd like to see some laps in the 24:60 to 70 range. There have been too many of them in the 90s. Jimmy adjusting the track bar inside the car and says it's still a little bit edgy to start the run, trying to get a little more stability in that 48.
And this is what you got to love about Chad Knaus and this combination, how it's been so successful. This is a crew chief. Yes, he's won 7 championships, but so has his driver won 7 championships. Because we got a little issue, 22 down in 3 and 4.
Joey Logano pounded the wall in turn 3, right front tire.
Right front tire. You saw him go up the hill. I know. Yeah, made pretty hard contact.
He was running 11th.
Looks like, I mean, this is the whole right side there, Todd.
22 and 11. They've been
mainly right front, a little bit of right rear, but mainly right front.
Been having a pretty good battle, those two were, for 11th and 12th.
Maybe too good. Todd Gordon is crew chief.
Wow, you hurt the tire.
You can almost see it unwind.
All right front down, guys. Hold on. Front's coming. Front's coming. We couldn't have turned down. They were coming too quick, buddy.
I mean, that's pretty light contact. I think they can certainly fix this. I think I'd be more concerned with what caused it.
I don't know. This car has just had no speed in it. It wasn't very good at Charlotte. Hadn't been very good here.
Larry, you got 45 laps to go in this stage. What do you do?
No question, 4 tires. This is the longest green flag run we've had, 49 laps, so it'll be feeding time on pit road.
A.J. Allmendinger will get the free pass. Here's Vince.
Well, Jimmy Johnson worked so much in practice yesterday on getting the most out of this first pit box, being going fast enough but not too fast to get every bit of it he can as an advantage. Loose on landing, tight center off for the 48, Jamie.
Kyle Larson said the balance is good on sticker tires. Just starts off a little tight, but then the drive off is great. The happiest driver I've heard, a 4-tire stop, man.
And Martin Truex Jr. comes to a stop, empty box and ahead for easy exit. He asked his team, did you do anything different? It felt different on the left rear this time. Cole Pern told him no. Meanwhile, the 18 of Kyle Busch, his car just continuously gets loose on that yellow Toyota. Service complete. How close was it between he and the 78, Mike?
Well, Martin Truex will pick up 1 spot, but Kyle Larson will be the first off pit road. We'll show you the battle for second behind Kyle Larson. There's how close it was.
Wow.
Welcome back to Dover in the AAA 400. Damage to Joey Logano's car after getting up to the wall in turn 3. Both Penske cars were difficult. Keselowski out of the race. Tough day for Stuart Haas and for Joe Gibbs. But we're getting ready to go back to green. It'll be 42 laps to go in stage 2 when we restart. And as Larry pointed out, everybody in the top 19 came to pit road for fresh tires and Sunoco race fuel.
Mike, this says 41 had an accident, 10 spun, 14 oil leak. That's the Stewart-Haas cars. The 22 and the 2, both in accidents. The 11, uncontrolled tire. 18, tire issue. 20, had trouble on pit road with contact.
Here's Jimmy Johnson's team.
And only 3 sets of tires left. It's going to be exciting. 200 laps to go, 3 sets of tires. Yep.
Wow. It's Chad Knaus. Here we come to the Geico restart zone.
So what I'm hearing there is pit strategy is a long way from being over in this race.
Whoa, Larson!
He came right down in front of Martin Truex Jr.
I think Truex was having, if Truex hadn't been having a little trouble himself, that might have been contact, but they both were fighting it up off corner.
He didn't just slam the door, he about knocked it off its hinges.
That's just going to add a little fuel to the fire, what we saw and heard out of Martin Truex Jr. earlier.
Kind of reminds me of just getting in front of Earnhardt and I'd say, what the heck was I thinking? I don't want him behind me.
For more on tires, Jamie.
Well, Mike, so often people want to know, how does NASCAR monitor tires, especially when they come off of a race car? Well, I just saw NASCAR come down to the 42. They loaded up the 4 tires that they took off, and they will take them back for inspection. You see it right there on the right-hand side of your screen. So, DW, Mike, Jeff, what kinds of things will NASCAR be looking for when they inspect these randomly?
Yeah, the dunk tank. Tell us about it, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, you're not allowed to do any type of bleeding of air, whether it's through the valve stem cap, whether it's through little small micro holes in the sidewalls. And this is not unusual. They do it at places like this. How many times in this race already have we heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. talk about the air pressure of the tires? So if you can bleed that air off, it's going to help the performance.
Yeah, Larry, concrete's the worst because of the joints, the bumps that you go through here. You work that sidewall, that tire. You can get a right front tire built at 55, 60 pounds of air pressure. Easy here.
Well, we've been riding along with Austin Dillon, and we show you how rough this racetrack can be. So not only does it build the air pressure, but you need all the grip and all the spring rate you can have in those tires to maintain that ride quality and grip throughout the race.
38 laps to go in stage 2. Let's ride full throttle with Austin Dillon and the number 3 AAA Chevy.
I mean, the shocks, the tires, the suspension, everything is coming up through that racetrack, through those tires to give you this picture and give you that feel that driver is feeling.
Last lap of the 40, chase the 50, 10 better than 11. His 52.
David Reagan had a problem, almost brought out a caution, but he's made it around to pit road here.
See
show you what happened.
Right side damage.
Ooh. It's a tire. Now, usually when it happens that early after a caution, there's some kind of contact that a driver has made with another.
He was running 22nd. He did not stop under that caution. He took the wave around to try to get his lap back and did, but then lost a tire.
Mike, that's the downside to not having as many tires as you. You start trying to manage your tires, you try to stay out on tires, you pick up debris on the tire, and sometimes you have a flat.
Michael McDowell finally coming to pit road here. Let's get an update from Matt.
Mike, before the issue with the tire for Joey Logano, he'd been telling the team that he had been on the tighter side. Now, I spoke with a tire engineer who examined that tire after it came off the car. He said nothing really stood out as a clear indication of what might have caused that issue. He surmises possibly something with the bead, but they will not know for sure until they dismount and get a better look.
Yeah, a couple of those tires had a very similar look to them, Michael, like it was a sidewall failure, but that's normally air pressure and camber. When you don't have, you run a little bit of low air, you got too much camber in that tire, you'll work the inside of it and you'll break that bead.
Boy, things are heating up here up front. Mark Truex just took a big chunk of that gap out of Kyle Larson through 3 and 4.
Oh, I think they definitely made Truex's car a little bit better on this last pit stop, and he's now able to get up here and challenge Kyle Larson for the lead. Truex really good around the bottom. Look how he closes when he runs that bottom line. 42's up the hill just a little bit. Truex looks like his car is perfect. 42 not so much, maybe off just a little wee bit. Right there you see that close right in the middle of the corner, right when you get back to the throttle.
And as these two are battling, third place Jimmy Johnson is creeping into this picture.
Lap cars ahead. Timmy Hill stays high up the racetrack.
Oh, you saw it again.
At 42.
At 42 is just a little loose. Looks like we may see a replay of what we saw earlier when Martin had to get up there and put a little bump.
Whoa.
I think he's going to clear him.
It might be, hey, might be a little payback here.
Oh,
Don't forget.
yeah, you're right.
Don't forget.
Remember me?
See, that's the difference of this year and last year. He would not even thought about that last year. And what I love, you don't wreck the guy, you just worry him to death. Is he going to hit me? Is he going to hit me again? Is he going to push me up the hill? What's he going to do?
Yeah, but Mark Truex Jr., he's one of those drivers, you can't rattle him. You know, I mean, he certainly has a fast race car, but he's so calm inside the race car and handles these situations, you know, like the veteran that he is.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you brought up worry, because we're going to take a listen to how Derek Nealon, the spotter for Kyle Larson, helped Kyle worry less with our Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage.
I don't know if it's from second to third or what it is, but like Kyle takes off and he's good, and as soon as he gets to about the start finish line at the 78 shifts, he like launches up a whole car length and is able to get even.
So knowing what the competition is up to and how they are better helps a driver worry less. Spotter cam up on the roof with a great view of Dover International Speedway, where in 26 laps we'll have the conclusion of stage 2. Jamie.
Well, it's interesting. Kyle Larson's first 2 runs of this race, he was loose. In the next 3 runs, he was tighter. But now he's loose, and they haven't made any adjustments, relying on the track bar. Perhaps next stop, they'll definitely take a swing at it chassis-wise. Vince?
Well, Jimmy Johnson has won the race here at Dover 10 times before, and he looks like he's going to be a contender to maybe get number 11 and maybe tie Cale Yarborough for that 83rd victory on the all-time list. Jimmy working that track bar inside the car. The one concern they have, tires. They've only got 3 sets of stickers remaining. They have glued up a set of scuffs, put the lug nuts back on, but Chad Knaus warning Jimmy Johnson, tires could be an issue down the stretch.
Whoa, turn 3 up the hill. Cole Whitten, I thought he was headed for the wall because he got a big shot going off in turn 3 by Regan Smith, and that happened right in front of the race leaders.
What you saw, the cause of that
turn 2 car in the wall.
Goodness, it looks like the 20,
Landon Castle.
Oh yes, 34 of the yellow car.
And that'll give us a caution at lap 218. And that looked like a right front.
It did.
Now Landon Castle also took the wave around. He was in 21st place. So he had a lot of laps on those tires.
Yeah, I think that right front's down like what we've seen all these others. See back here, and the car just goes up the hill. You can't do anything with it when it's got the right front flat.
Well, what's got to be really worrisome for these crew chiefs and drivers right now is, okay, you got to conserve tires. You don't have a lot of tires left, but you're seeing tires fail and people get in the wall.
Yeah.
Matt?
And Mike, up and down pit road, teams are starting to re-glue up sets of tires that they've already used. That's a set that came off Denny Hamlin's car. They've got 3 sets of stickers in the pit, working on gluing up a scuff set number 4.
Well, that first set only has 18 laps on it, plus qualifying, which could have been 1, 2, or 3 rounds.
I think we're going to see a mixed bag here, because we're going to go back racing with about 15 laps to go to the end of stage 2. I think a lot of the guys up front are going to stay out thinking about that stage. I think guys near the back will come get their 4 and then stay out at the end of stage 2. I think you'll see a mixed bag here.
Good point, Larry. Danica Patrick gets the free pass. First car 1 lap down.
I think it makes sense at 42. We see him on pit road. That car was not good. car was loose. He needed to work on it, Jamie.
And he just told Chad Johnston, his crew chief, we're junk. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's this set of tires. So they said, let's bring it on down, put a new set of tires on it. And you see they are going to make a chassis adjustment there, although they're risking it, he said, because if another set goes on and our car is good, well, we just went the wrong direction.
Well, they've tried a lot of different things earlier. They had a 2-tire stop. This time they get 4. 21 to go in stage 2. Martin Truex Jr., your leader. Laps to go in stage 2. Everybody's weaving because when the caution comes out here, all of that hot rubber that's been laid down on the racetrack comes up onto the tires and sticks. So you got to weave back and forth and get rid of that so that you've got a smooth surface to get traction when we restart.
Yeah, the track is black. You can see the groove where the cars are running, but as soon as the caution comes out, and it's particularly if he's down on these hot tires, all that rubber is picked back up on, and where does it go? Right on those hot tires.
So hopefully it's all off there now as the 2017 Toyota Camry XSE pace car leads the field.
Good, Mike. In DW, you can get the rubber off the rear tires because you can spin them. The front tires are the ones that are the toughest to get off.
I think that's why when these restarts are treacherous as they are, and particularly when you stay out.
So the first cars on new tires are 19th and 20th place. Kyle Larson and Regan Smith. Truex versus Johnson.
This may be a preview of things to come.
And here comes Larson, 3 wide around the top, passing 2, 4, 5, down to the bottom. He's going for more.
I'll tell you, he's got 4 fresh tires on that car. He's going to go somewhere with them, I can promise you that.
That was an impressive opening lap.
Look at Larson. Larson said, I think I can get a better weight.
Yeah, he tried to go.
He was thinking about it.
Well, that is his teammate just ahead.
Yes,
or alongside.
Well, and a good buddy of his in Casey Kane.
3rd place. Teammates battling for 3rd as they are for 10th.
What an incredible run by the 18 car to get back up here, running 4th. Got a pretty good race car. Got all that damage, not slowing him down a bit.
Kyle Larson's led 115 laps so far today, Jamie.
And he's pushing hard, but his crew chief just told him, take it easy on your stuff. We want to stay out here when the stage is up. And Mike, just an update on those tires I told you NASCAR came and took to check. Well, after about 10 minutes, NASCAR brought him back, gave him back to the team, and gave him a thumbs up.
Jamie, they took him down and gave him a bath. That's how you usually dip the tires in a cup of water or whatever, see if anything's leaking anywhere.
Looking for a slow leak.
Slow leak. I've heard about slow leaks before.
Martin Truex is checked out. He's almost a second ahead of Jimmy Johnson as we run the last 13 laps of this stage when he crosses the stripe.
I do think in the 42, when they told him to slow down a little bit and take care of his stuff, he did back it down a notch because he was tearing up through there passing everybody. Now he just kind of looks like he's maintaining to the end of this stage.
You know, Martin Truex has been to victory lane, and boy, is he piling up the playoff points. Every one of these stage wins, remember, they carry through all the way to the final race at Homestead, Miami in November. He's got 17 playoff points in the bank now. I mean, wow.
That's a lot.
That's going to be a lot. And we don't really know because it's the first year with stages and stage points and playoff points of how this is really going to factor in. But I got to believe you give Martin Truex Jr. that kind of a bonus or that kind of a lead going in the playoffs, it's going to pay off big for him. And that, remember, that goes all the way through the playoffs until you get to Homestead if you can make it there.
Landon Castle's been in the wall again, kind of like Stenhouse earlier. No caution this time.
Right front tire down again.
Yep. He'll be headed for the garage, or headed for pit road at least. No caution. 11 to go, stage 2.
Cars run some pretty equal times, Mike. 24.50 on the leader, 24.40, 40, 47, 50, 50. Pretty much that first 5 or 6 about the same speed.
I think Larry, probably every crew chief's been on the horn telling his driver, don't wear your stuff out.
Well, no, but now we know the end of that stage 2 is 10 laps away, but I couldn't agree with what Chad Johnson, Jamie Little reported, that Larson, he has to take care of these tires because they have to stay out at the end of the stage.
Yeah, he backed it way down, Larry. He was burning them up. He was coming up through there, and it seemed like he backed it down a little bit here for these last few laps. Jamie, what you got?
Well, Chase Elliott, nice comeback for him. Remember, he got busted for speeding early in this race, and his car hasn't been great, but they've been working on it, making it better. Right now, back into the top 10. He's really focused on the exit of the corner, and there's a great quote that he said, and Jeff, I know you like this one. Yesterday, Chase told me, heroes drive into the corners, legends drive off. So that has been their focus, driving off well.
I love that quote, and it's so true, especially when you see all these cars getting loose into the corner here at Dover. It's getting off the corner and carrying that speed down that straightaway. That's true everywhere, but I think it's especially true here. And this kid, I know he hasn't won a race yet. He's going to, but he will be on his way to being a legend.
Well, just think about today. We haven't mentioned him until now, and we're just past halfway of this race. That's when the really smart guys, that's when the really good guys, that's when the good cars start to surface, the latter part of the race.
Quick recap of penalties thus far. Chase Elliott too fast exiting back about lap 50, and Denny Hamlin uncontrolled tire. Trevor Bayne too fast exiting at about lap 123. So very light on penalties so far. Joe Gibbs Racing, when they won here last year, that was their 7th victory of the year. All 4 drivers have won. This year winless in point races. Here's how they run. Matt?
Mike, Denny Hamlin, you can see running in the 12th position. His car's really taking a swing, gone polar opposite. He'd been fighting loose much of the race. Now he's in it, just will not carve the first third of the corner. They put some tape on the grill besides another minor adjustment. One issue on a stop, dusting the case, the front changer. The gun had a little bit of a hiccup. Got stuck in neutral just for a quick brief second there. Lost a little bit of time on that stop.
Thanks, Matt. Did somebody say Kyle Larson was told to slow down?
I was going to say, I know you said he's taking it easy, DW, but I don't see it happening. I really don't understand why he's passing these cars, because they're all going to have to pit in just a couple of laps.
I don't think it's that he's sped up so much as that I think these other guys are on the end of this tire run here, and they're just hanging on trying to get to this next stage. And he's got fresh tires, so it makes it look like he's really going hard.
Well, he's made 12 passes for position since the restart. But as Larry pointed out, he's got to stay on those tires for the next restart.
But his lap times really aren't any better than anyone else. He just ran a 24.40. Our leader just ran a 24.50. So he's really not driving that hard. It just looks like it.
If you say so.
2 laps to go in stage 2.
A little scoring monitor is what I go by. It's like when you stand in the pits and you clock people, you know. He said, well, you're better than him, but you're not as good as that guy.
I think it goes back to what we talked about with Kyle Larson. He just likes to pass cars.
He told me that one time. Mike, I think this pit road, though, it's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. Very narrow, very tight pit boxes. I think that's why we're seeing so many issues on pit road today. That's just a tough situation to have to work in.
Deja vu all over again for the
green, white checkered for the 8th time. MTJ, stay with us.
That's what I would have said.
Clayton Hughes. Clayton is a funny guy. He and his dad, Odie, they worked for me one time. They're good guys.
Martin Truex Jr. wins stage 2 at his home racetrack. It should be an interesting pit stop. 2nd place Jimmy Johnson in pit stall 40. 3rd place Matt Kenseth, his rival, in pit stall 39. Here they come. Vince.
Well, it's been a point of contention too, Mike, for the 48 and also the 1, which has to pit in front of the 20 today because of that penalty that the 20 had. Jimmy Johnson says the car's pretty good, but still a little too loose on landing. Matt Kenseth in that 20 needs some help when he gets back to the throttle. That's what they're working on, Matt.
And the 78 of Martin Truex comes to a stop. His changers have been doing a great job today. Chris Taylor and Lee Cunningham, he says, on the splitter early, a little too free near the end of that run. Meanwhile, the 18 of Kyle Busch, the change they made air pressure-wise did not help. They're reversing that. The car just too flat the first few laps. Back to green, no grip.
Kyle Larson, as you see, did come in for those, perhaps for those 2 new left side tires that they had. Martin Truex is your stage winner. We spoke to him a little earlier. Let's talk to the stage 2 runner-up.
Hey, Jimmy, this is Jeff. You got me?
Got you, bud.
Well, man, awesome job coming up from the back. I guess we shouldn't be surprised. You've done it before and won this race from the back, but you know, we're just watching all the different challenges and chaos going on in this race, and pit strategy and tire strategy. What's it going to take to win this race? Looks like you got a great race car.
Yeah, we definitely have a great race car, and I think the way it's unfolding, who has enough tires might be a big factor in the way this thing plays out. The cars are driving a lot different. They tripped past the paths here. Corner entry seems to be really sensitive. A lot of guys are loose, including myself. So it's been a much more challenging race today than what I anticipated, but we're still sitting in good shape and got a shot at this thing.
Well, thanks for talking to us. I can't believe I just heard you say you were loose in. I've never heard you admit that before, but have a great race.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.
Ryan Blaney exiting his pit may have broken an axle. He's coming back to pit road. We'll update that story when we come back. In the garage area, they have repaired or replaced the axle shaft on Ryan Blaney's car. The half shaft. Boy, that was quick.
Well, you know why? They did the same thing happened last week, remember?
Yep.
So I guess they were prepared in case it ever happened again, not thinking what happened again today.
Concrete pit box, asphalt pit road. So he's back on track. I believe he's a lap, maybe 2 down. We'll check that in a moment. Kyle Larson with left side tires. Martin Truex, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones. They are the first 10 of 23 lead lap cars. Ross Chastain got the free pass, and we're ready to go back to green.
Like 154 laps, 153 coming to the line to go. That's a long way to go with not many tires.
Geico restart zone. Here we go.
I don't think Kyle Larson is overly happy with Martin Truex from what happened earlier in the day.
That little bump and run?
That little bump and run.
Well, they're going to put on a show and duel it out here on this restart. Jimmy Johnson going to try to take advantage of this. Gets to the outside of Truex. But this is going to put a lot of pressure on Truex. He's going to need to complete this pass.
Oh, big slide for Truex.
Man, how did he save that car? Incredible job by Truex not to take that 42 out. That was amazing.
Or himself out.
Whoa.
I was talking to Mark Truex about this about last week. I said, you said you were so loose. You make it look so easy. He goes, oh man, I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge. Well, that's the first time I've seen it actually look hard, because he almost lost it.
I tell you, I don't know how he keeps off of it right here. I mean, that is inches.
You could about fit a dollar bill in between those two fenders.
And of course, Jimmy Johnson loved it because he turned to the bottom and moved right into second place.
And I think right out of the corner of his eye, I believe Larson saw that happening, even moved up about a foot just to give a little extra room. Great driving by both of them.
I don't think he saw it. I think he felt it.
Yeah.
I think he felt him there and knew he had to give him a little room.
All right, come back down. Long way to go here, bud.
That was Martin Truex.
Yeah, there's just, for whatever reason, Martin and Kyle Larson, they got a little thing going today. They're getting a little annoyed with each other.
10th place here. Just ahead of them, Kyle Busch has driven past the 5 of Casey Kane into 7th. Eric Jones still in the mix here in 9th.
Yes, sir. Hanging tough.
Vince.
How about Casey Kane running up well inside the top 10 for much of the day today, and says the car feels good now. They just put 4 tires on it, no other adjustments. I think the strongest effort we've seen from that 5 car this season. Remember, he did have 1 top 5, 4th place in the 2nd race in Atlanta, but it's been a long time since we've seen him look this good.
You know, when you start talking about Jimmy Johnson the most, the latter part of the race.
Of course.
That's when he really turns it on.
You know, it's interesting you say that, DW, because if you look at the stats, Jimmy Johnson's not dominated this race like we've seen in the past since 2014, but yet he still has a win or 2 in there.
Yeah, I think it's the knowledge of the track. I think, you know, the track's going to change. Things are going to change a little bit here and there. It's Chad knowing what to put in the car to make it good at the end of the day. And the other thing I think is important is his conditioning. That man stays on the wheel all day long.
All right, we heard from Martin Truex's side. Here's the 42, Kyle Larson's.
I'm sure he's going to be mad at us about that one, too. I don't care. It's racing. Amen.
I like that.
2 different opinions.
Just racing.
Both
Come on, man.
Yeah, just racing hard. Now, this is the first that I've seen Jimmy Johnson get off the bottom of the racetrack, and he's getting a big run on the 42 of Larson. He's going to need to get right on his bumper, loosen him up.
He followed him up the hill there, and that opened the door for Truex. He looked underneath, but here goes Johnson.
Whoa!
Little drag race down the back.
But this is where Larson's really paying attention. His spotter's probably doing a good job telling him what's going on. You know, he moves up the racetrack.
Whoa!
Contact.
Whoa, he got into the side of the 48 that time.
Well, Mark's going to be mad at the 48 now.
Goodness gracious.
And here comes Kenseth in the 20.
Just remember, Mike, Jeff knows this, that 42 and the 48, they got the same engine on the hood. There's our Henry Kenyon's up on the hood of that 42 car.
This was more than close.
Contact.
Roger.
Whoop, car in the wall.
That is Landon Castle again. No caution. He's going to get it down to the apron and bring it around to pit road. Miles the Monster, he must be ready for dessert by now.
I've never seen him smile so much.
It's like Gordon Ramsay cooked him a 10-course meal today. Here's Jimmy Johnson's radio.
Oh, that's 78. Thank you, Earl. Jimmy, the 78 had to pick the 42's rear tires up 130 this race for blocking. Pretty sure you can do the same. I believe that's what I tried to do.
Yeah, he went in there chasing him up the racetrack right before all that incident happened between him and the 78.
Jimmy's not going to do that until he has to.
Jamie?
Well, the 42 went back and forth about should they stay out or should they come in on that last stop. Well, you heard the radio. They decided to come in and take laps. So remember, those right sides on the 42 have 20 more laps on them. So the handling isn't quite what it was, Vince.
As far as the 48 of Jimmy Johnson is concerned, if they've had a weak spot in this part of the race, it's just been their short run speed, the first 10 laps of the run. But once the run starts to string out, Jimmy Johnson is really fast. So we'll keep an eye on this and how long this run goes, whether or not Johnson can get past that 42.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's sitting in a really nice spot here. The 42 got extra laps on his right side tires. Johnson should be able to go car better on the long run. He should be able to get up here and get back, get the lead.
DW, something I'm seeing right now is Truex is actually falling back. You know, he lost that track position. I don't know if he has some damage that may have come from that little contact, the 42 or the 48, but Matt Kenseth got by him, has actually pulled away a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what happens sometimes, Jeff? You lose your temper, you get upset, you do a couple of things that don't work out for you, and then you got to calm down. You got to back off a little bit, catch your breath, regroup, and then go again.
On that last restart, it looked like Ryan Blaney's car was only pulling with one wheel, and he went to the garage. We've got debris high on the front stretch, bringing out the caution here at lap 264. might have been from Landon Castle's car, but not sure. Castle came in, got another tire, and went back out. 137 laps to go. Let's talk about the why of tire allotments. Larry, wasn't that long ago that these teams were allowed to buy all they wanted?
Well, it's where they can set their budget for the year, and it's one less set than what we had here last year. But here with 136 laps to go, these teams have 16 laps on this set of tires, Mike. I just don't see how in the world you could think about coming to pit road and getting 4 tires unless they're thinking about putting some of those scuffs that they re-glued up from earlier in the race.
Paul Menard will get the free pass on this caution flag. So let's have a look and see if anybody comes. The lead lap cars were last on pit road at lap 243, 21 laps ago.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will come either. I think this is a stay out kind of time right here.
Counting the stage ends, this is the 11th caution flag of the day. Time now for an eBay Motors race break. Let's join Chris Myers.
Thanks, Mike. And with Michael Waltrip, a quick recap. Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, who's led 19 laps earlier. Tire comes off. He loses track position, fell to 35th after leading.
And damaged that left rear corner of the car, but it doesn't seem to have hurt much. He's been really competitive. The tire changer thought the guy was putting the lugs on, but the wrench was reversed, knocking those nuts off.
Back inside the top 10, Kurt Busch loose, and Brad Keselowski rough for Penske Racing in the Ford.
Yeah, a couple of weeks in a row for Brad. Man, that's a shame. Kurt had a fast car. It just shows you how close to wrecking these guys are every lap.
Joey Logano with a right front tire issue going into the wall. He was running 11th, and Martin Truex Jr., a showstopper when it comes to winning stages. He wins stage 1, he wins stage 2, and again, he's the only driver in the history of NASCAR to have driven for the cycle, meaning he won all the stages and the race. Has a chance to do that here, but he's battling Kyle Larson and Jimmy Johnson, who started it at the back, and he's worked his way all the way up, but he's yet to actually lead this race.
Yeah, and the last time he won here, I don't think he took the lead till like 23 to go for the first time. So Jimmy's just steadily and constantly marching his way to the front. I think he says, that's cute, y'all winning all those stage points. I want to be around when the checker flag falls, and he's in a position, Chris, to do that again here today, making his record-breaking 11th win here at Dover.
If he can do it, and it seems like Kyle Larson, there's some things going on in this race. What have you seen over the first 2 stages you think that will play out in the end of this race? Remember last year in the fall here, they finished with over 200 green flag consecutive laps to finish the race.
Well, look at Larson. He's on a different tire strategy right now. They'll get matched up, he, Johnson, and Truex, and I think we're going to see a heck of a battle. They came together, and then also Matt Kenseth lurking right there as well. So there's so many plays that are going to so many things that are going to play out over the last half of this race. It's going to be awesome.
And we still have, remember, after this race, we're halfway, 13 races to NASCAR's playoff. That is your race break. Let's head back upstairs and join Jeff, Darrell, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. 134 laps to go here, but it's a big day of motorsports because up in Epping, New Hampshire, the NHRA has the New England Nationals coming up next on FS1. Look at this earlier today. Terry McMillan had his hands full in round 1. His dragster suffered a colossal explosion during the elimination rounds. On Friday, Courtney Force had a similar incident in her car, and it's all happening on the quarter mile in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
on FS1 next.
Courtney's over Bill Allen yesterday watching Graham Rahal win that race yesterday handily, I might say. So, yeah, they're having a good weekend.
So let's get some audio about this restart from Team 42.
I don't know why I get their launch is so much better than mine. Like a 78 always kind of beats me on the restarts.
Well, we'll work on that. We'll see if we can do something about that.
Well, he's not alone. Everybody that's gone up against the 78. I think back to Charlotte last week with Jimmy Johnson. He couldn't match that launch that the 78 had. So they definitely, not only do they have a fast race car on the racetrack, they've got a car that can really get up to speed.
This thing is really setting up, though, Mike. Larson, Kansas third, and Chase Elliott 6. Those three guys went at it hard and strong here at the end of the race last year.
You heard Austin Dillon spinning those tires, weaving back and forth, trying to get all that excess rubber off these tires.
Clean them up.
24 lead lap cars, including Paul Menard, who got the free pass. Larson and Johnson, 2 Chevys on the front row, then 2 Toyotas, Kenseth and Truex, Harvick's Ford, Elliott Chevrolet, Kyle Busch, Kane, Jones, and McMurray the top 10.
Pretty good launch for that 42 there. I mean, that was as good as I've seen him do on the restart.
Will it be
Jimmy's
good
going
enough?
to get to the inside. You're not going to outdrive Larson into the corner.
Man, boy, did Truex have trouble getting into 3, though. He had to get back out of the gas. That opened the door for the 24 car here. He comes on the outside of Truex down in turn 1.
Where did he come from?
Boy, he's just been steadily coming to the front. He just quietly worked his way up into the top 5 here.
Jimmy Johnson has not yet led today. Last May, he didn't take the lead till lap 383, or rather in 2015. Didn't take the lead till lap 383 with 17 to go. Suarez outside Jones, couple of rookies.
Right now, I think Suarez is the leading rookie contender. He and his teammate are running first and second in that category. Actually, they're not teammates officially, but you know what I mean.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. backing up to 19th. He restarted 15th.
Jr. has just not been able to get that car to operate anywhere that he wanted to.
You could almost hear the rear tires spinning up off the corners. He was really loose.
Yeah, one reason Dale Earnhardt Jr. is losing spots back there where he's running is several of those teams around him, like Chris Buescher in the 37, A.J. Allmendinger in the 47, a lot of them pitted. And I won't say they put on brand new tires, but they put on fresher tires.
Yeah, even with them being cooler, down to the optimal pressures to start this run, even those things are an advantage. You know, I didn't mind if other people had fresher tires than me, as long as I wasn't the first one that they could get to. Once they get to you, they just start eating you up.
And that's the case with Regan Smith in that 43, fresher tires on that 43 car.
An update on Eric Almirola. He is improving week to week. And he says the difficulty in his stage of recovery right now is that his back doesn't hurt anymore, but he still has to be careful with it. No back brace or anything like that, but he's still on limited duty, no lifting, and of course, no racing, not for several weeks to come. But good to hear that he's progressing nicely after that Kansas crash.
Yeah, it's the what ifs that you have to worry about. What if you get back in the car and something happens again right away? That's the thing you have to be concerned about.
They said they won't rush it. Richard Petty Motorsports kind of coy on their plans from here on out. Regan Smith has been in this car and done a good job for them the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, boy, when I think of fill-in drivers, and I mean, Regan has his own you know, abilities without being a fill-in driver. Listen, he won in that 78 car for Giroux at Darlington. He's a great driver, but boy, when it comes to filling in, he's like the top of everybody's list.
He's the guy they call.
Now, Matt Kenseth was testing the high groove for a couple of laps. Now he's come back to the bottom, Vince.
Yeah, he likes the entry to the corner, but where he has the problem is at about that 2/3 mark through the corner. Says it feels like it's shoving, and he's not able to drive it off the way he'd like. But otherwise, been pretty pleased with the way the 20 is handling during this portion of the race.
Mike, you know this, and Jeff, Matt Kenseth, a thinking driver. He's thinking about, okay, what do I need to do here? What am I going to be looking at the end of this race? Do I need to run a different lap? Or am I going to be stuck here on the bottom? Is that all I can do? So he's experimenting a little bit right now, thinking about the end of this thing.
I know Jimmy Johnson's still just chipping away at Kyle Larson, but how impressed are you guys with the job that Kyle Larson has done? Older right sides, newer left side tires. I thought he'd have all kinds of fits with the handling of that race car and have even more fits with Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr., but he's holding them off pretty good.
How about that second-place car, Vince?
Well, and remember, it wasn't that long ago that there's a little history between Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Larson. Remember back at Charlotte when we had that radio from Jimmy when he asked, how big is that 42 spotter? And he got the response, fairly small, and came back with, I'm tired of being run into the fence. So a little bit of history between these two guys.
Wow.
We'll see if it plays out once Jimmy gets to the bumper.
All right, 120 laps to go. Ryan Blaney back in the race after rear-end repairs. Larson, Johnson, Truex, Elliott, Kenseth, the top 5.
They got him, Scott. Burn down, bud, burn down. Sit behind you.
In a race that stimulates all 5 senses, you're gonna need every single one of them.
Mobile Strike. Download and play now, free from the App Store.
People love an amazing deal, which is why KFC's new spicy, crispy, hand-breaded Zinger chicken sandwich is now available in a $5 fill-up for a limited time. Only $5. Why? Because it's an amazing deal. I thought I already said that. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
I miss you, babe.
I wish you were here. I miss home.
For the guy who finds a way, always unstoppable.
What goes around comes around. And as a sport that races in laps, we know that a clean race pays off in the finish. It's why NASCAR commits to green programs and biofuel, like Sunoco Green E15, so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
Matt Kenseth had a problem. He just barely made it onto pit road. Under green. Look at him dive onto pit road.
Incredible that he was able to get that car on the pit road.
And stopped in the second pit. Vince.
Yeah, I thought he had a tire going down. The team wasn't even ready for him, and he made that decision in a split second and had the team scrambling down here to change the right sides.
So Matt Kenseth will go 1 lap down.
I'm almost certain also, Mike, he had to be speeding coming on to pit road. I just don't see any way he wasn't speeding right there. So there may be a penalty coming also.
Well, they're calling it commitment line violation and too fast entering. You have to have all 4 wheels below that orange box on the asphalt. You can't put 2 tires on it. You'll see it here. Hard on the brakes.
Close.
Might have got it with the right rear and the right front. There it is.
And you have to understand, his priority right then was to get on pit road, get 4 tires, and not damage the car or end up in the wall. He knew he was going to get a penalty.
Here's his radio.
Well, that's the best I can do on that short notice. You did great. You did great.
So now he'll serve the pass-through penalty. And with 111 laps to go, Kyle Larson leading Jimmy Johnson by 0.4 of a second. Let's look at today's Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, I've got my eye on Kyle Larson. I think this is a redemption race for him. A year ago, he battled it out with one of the veterans in Matt Kenseth. Today, he's battling it out with one of the legends in Jimmy Johnson. And I think his desire is going to get him that win today.
Yeah, Jeff, Martin Truex Jr. got his first career win right here 10 years ago. It's his home track. He swept the first 2 stages. He'll become our first 3-time winner of 2017.
Jimmie Johnson's looking for a record day. He's going for his 11th win and his 83rd victory that would tie him with Cale Yarborough for 6th on the all-time win list. Jimmie Johnson.
I picked him before the race, and I believe still Chase Elliott's got a fast car. He's running in the top 5, 2 top 3 finishes here a year ago. He's going to get his first win today.
I didn't like Kyle Busch's press conference last week. I like the way he owned up to it in pre-race, and I love the way he has rebounded from losing that wheel to come back into the top 5. What a Cinderella story it would be if he went to victory lane. Here are the pre-race odds of those choices coming in. And DW, your pick might have just grazed the wall just a little bit.
No, we just narrowed it up a little bit. It'll make it faster.
Ooh, it's a little more than a little.
Well, okay, well, it'll make it a whole lot faster.
All right.
I hope.
He is closing on Kyle Larson. And how about a shout out for Ross Chastain? This is his first ever Cup race, 22nd place on the lead lap, Michael.
Well, Jay Robinson Racing, these guys work so hard. Protect Your Melon is on the side of Ross Chastain's car. He's making his Cup debut. He's kept her on the lead lap. This is a great run for this small team. They can use this for momentum as we race through the summer if we don't lose it here late in the going.
That says Protect Your Melon on that car. That's part of the Drive Alive campaign here in Delaware. Buckle up, protect your melon, drive sober, use your melon.
Now, Mike, he ran all 3 races here this weekend. He ran the truck race, the Xfinity race, and here he is today in the Cup race.
And a shout out to Cole Witt. He's battling with Cole Witt. I know they just went a lap down, but these 2 guys, they're getting after it.
Wow, that's for position. Yeah.
I think somebody's mad at somebody.
Well, that's going to hold up Jimmie Johnson as they race side by side, bump and bang. Slide job after slide job. I mean, Jimmie Johnson's got to be going, what's going on?
Wow, Jimmy better get going.
He just barely got in front of the 72 car. Wow.
I don't think that was a friendly way that Jimmie Johnson gave those 2 guys.
Might have been single digit.
Well, now that took Jimmie Johnson from 0.3 of a second behind to 1.6 seconds behind. That was a big gap for Kyle Larson.
Yeah, it is, and that's a nice breather for Larson because Jimmie Johnson breathing down his neck, got a little bit better tires, but hadn't been able to get around him.
Well, see, those 2 now they can battle for the lucky dog position. They're the only 2 cars 1 lap down, Witt and Chastain. So I got a feeling this is not over.
No, and that's why you have to race hard for every position, every single lap, no matter where you're at on the track.
Yeah, that's why they're racing so hard, Jeff. They're racing each other really hard because they know that. They're being told that by their crew chiefs and their spotter.
Kyle Larson now up 2 seconds. He is gaining ground on Jimmie Johnson, who is trying to approach a real milestone in NASCAR history here with that next victory. Tying Cale Yarborough on the all-time list, and he's got a commemorative helmet along for the ride.
Let me tell you, that guy right there on that helmet, you won't ever run anybody any tougher than he was.
That's for sure.
He just gnawed up tracks like that. He ate them up. You think Miles is bad? Cale Yarborough was badder.
Yeah. You think Kyle Busch loves to win and hates to lose? You should have met Cale Yarborough.
That's right, buddy. He was tenacious.
Johnson with 7 championships and 7th on the all-time NASCAR win list.
I gotta say, that's one of the coolest helmets that I've seen in a long time, and also one of the coolest motivation tools that you could possibly have to go get that 83rd win.
You know, when I look at Kyle Larson, just remember he had about 19 laps on those right side tires. But let me set up what may happen right here. This is how many laps there are left to go. These teams can go to about 60 to 65 laps to go. But I think what may happen, they may break up this last run into halves. I think when I'm looking at the race pace, how much it's fallen off, we may see some guys start diving in with about 70 or 75 laps to go, trying to take advantage of those tires. Remember, everybody has 2 sets of tires left now.
Looks like that maybe that little bit of damage that Jimmy Johnson got on the right side of the car, maybe that's affected the car.
Or maybe more. Vince.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson says the car all of a sudden has swung tight. He feels like something's wrong. He's not quite sure what, but Jimmy believes they've got a problem.
Well, it was confirmed that Matt Kenseth did have a right front tire down when he stopped under green. Jamie?
At 24, Chase Elliott, the best he has been today. I talked to his crew chief earlier today, and he told me they struggled a little bit. They thought they were a 5th to a 10th place car. He said the problem that happens here is the Jimmy Johnson factor. You expect your driver to drive like him, and you expect that when you put Jimmy's setup on, it works. Well, we realize neither works. Chase Elliott has to drive his own race car in his own race. He's doing just that, guys, as he's following his teammates.
Well, and I just think going back to Jimmy Johnson, whether he's having any issues with his tires, he ran really hard in the tire tracks of the 42, trying to make that pass for the lead, trying to get into clean air. I wonder, did he abuse that tire a little bit too much?
I don't know, but that car is definitely not handling like it was. So I'm jumping sideways off turn 4. Now Chase Elliott gets by. I think there might be a little issue with that 48 car.
Well, he's smart. He knows how to take care of it. He knows when he feels something, you know, how to back it down and save his equipment.
Larry, remind us, when does the window open to make a stop and get to the finish?
Well, we're sitting there at 93 to go, somewhere around 85 to 90 to go. That window opens. That may be what Chad Knaus is sitting there thinking about, the ground they're losing, the way the pace is. We've lost almost 2 seconds over this run. Now, the risk you run is if you do make that green flag stop and that caution comes out and burns you.
Yeah, that's the problem. See, these guys are all on tires that are pretty worn. This is a time in the race where you can have a tire issue by another car. You come pit road and you lose a lap, your day's over.
So Jimmy is in 4th place, 4.7 seconds back. Look at Denny Hamlin there in 14th. Hamlin is 14 seconds off the lead in 14th, running the longest green flag stretch of the day. Here's an update on the Coca-Cola Racing family. Daniel Suarez in 9th. Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon all still on the lead lap, as is Danica Patrick. Joey Logano 4 laps down after crash damage.
Mike, it's only a 400-mile race, only a 400-mile race. But let me tell you, these guys and gals are going to be worn out when this thing is over with.
Danica Patrick there, about to go a lap down to Kyle Larson. We're going to take you side by side. Keep it right here with NASCAR on FS1.
Junior leads the way. He's there again at the exit of turn 1. Green flag in. Funnel back to double wide formation.
Run outside here.
Charging hard. He'll take the lead.
You got it, bud.
That's what you call the Pocono seat, buddy.
Yeah, boys. What a car. Awesome day.
Our AutoZone Rewards program is simple. Spend $20 5 times and earn a $20 reward. Oh, look at that. You got a $20 reward.
I needed it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we were so deep. It was
fun.
the best. Hey, is there a shower here?
Got a sink and some hand soap.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. I love that guy. Let's get you what you need.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. When I retire, I'll be Golden Years Dale. I'll catch big fish, climb big mountains. I'll surf some really big waves.
And you'll run some big errands because we're out of mayo.
Mayo. Got it. Going for that mayo. For planning your retirement and more, Nationwide is on your side.
At KFC, we choose to make spicy, crispy chicken sandwiches. Not because it is easy, but because it is hard. we choose not only to launch KFC's new Zinger Sandwich in a $5 fill-up, but to take it to space. Will it be easy? No. Will it be hard? Yes. We've already covered that. But when we succeed, we will lick our fingers good! Space sandwich! Yeah!
Try the Zinger Sandwich before it goes to space.
Got kids 12 and under? Come to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, and any kid under 12 gets in free. Get your tickets today.
85 laps to go in the AAA 400 at Dover. Here's your Busch race summary. Kyle Larson is the first of now 18 cars on the lead lap. We've had 5 different leaders: Larson, Truex, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, and Ricky Stenhouse. 11 lead changes, 11 cautions for 52 laps. Martin Truex won stage 1 and stage 2. Kyle Larson has led the most laps. Now Eric Jones had a right front tire go down. He made a pit stop under green. Here comes Casey Kane.
Well, I think this may be scheduled. This is a big risk, but Vince, what do you got?
Yes, that the wheels are starting to shake a little bit, so they didn't want to take any chances. Gone ahead and brought him in. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Casey Kane. It's been a really strong run for him so far today. Keith Rodden's given him a nice piece this afternoon.
Well, he's been top 10 most of the day, Vince. He pitted from 8th place. Now you will lose a lap when you pit under green here.
Yeah, if this goes all the way green, he's in great shape. But boy, we've just seen so many issues where cautions have come out. We've not come more than 44 laps until this run under green.
Yeah, it just worries me. I mean, with some of the tire issues we've seen, this many laps on tires, you're sitting on a hot stove right now, Matt.
NDW Coach Mike Leff, the pitcher coach at JGR, impressed with just how those guys methodically recovered from that issue you guys documented on pit road. Adam Stevens told Kyle he's been working the high line more than the bottom. Told him the 77 had an issue with the right front. We're going to go to about lap 340 on fuel, so we've got a long way to go. Just try to be patient and conserve. He thinks that damage to the left rear has certainly affected the balance of the car all day.
Thanks, Matt. Jamie McMurray is in a hurry. 6th place from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, I think that when Johnson got in that wall a little bit, I think that's affected that car more than we maybe even know. I think that's what slowed him down.
When he's just trying to hold on. I believe Chad Knaus just told him, say, hang on, buddy. We don't want to pit under green. We want to bring you in when our leaders come in, or hopefully if a caution comes out.
Yeah, when everybody starts to hit pit road, then you don't feel so bad about being on pit road when everybody else is.
You just don't want to be the caution.
That's it. You want to see the caution, not be the caution.
Roger.
79 laps to go. And Jimmy has now fallen to 7 seconds back of leader Kyle Larson.
And just think, not long ago he was up there trying to get around Kyle Larson, so definitely the car not anywhere near like it was early, or just a few laps ago.
Now Eric Jones, because he cut down a tire on the racetrack and had to limp around, he's lost 2 laps with that pit stop under green.
That's the thing about this place. When you pit under green, you're going to lose a lap and change. So that's why you stay out as long as you can.
Yeah, we actually saw Casey Kane. He went down 2 laps, made one of them back up already on our leader, Kyle Larson, but he's got a whole nother lap to make up.
Hey, older brother, look who's in the top 10. It's the most interesting sportsman in America, Ty Dillon, clawing his way to the front, buddy.
Yeah, the 13 car of Ty Dillon. Yeah, I love that.
Well, great shout out to Booty Barker, who's the crew chief on this car, and Ty Dillon. Great job by him. That whole team. This is a long race. You got to be tough to be around the end of this race. Says a lot about Ty. Besides being the most interesting guy in America.
I think you covered that in pre-race, right? Trevor Bayne slow in turn 1.
I believe he's got a tire down. I saw him almost go. He went way up the hill. Here comes our leader, or Martin Truex, not our leader.
Truex in the pit lane and more. Daniel Suarez is in. Trevor Bayne on pit road. All green flag stops with 75 to go. Matt.
2 wins this year. Martin Truex looking for a 3rd. He said the biggest issue that he had was corner exit. The car was just pushing, losing grip on exit. Left side's going on. Very solid stop by the Busch
Kevin Harvick is coming down pit road as well. Harvick's been pretty pleased with the car throughout the day. He said this last run, though, it's not been into the track as much as it had been before. 4-tire change for Harvick.
Kyle Larson coming in, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Busch. Jamie?
A sigh of relief for the 42 who took sticker left side tires. They weren't sure how that would change the balance. Well, he led every lap that run. So a 4-tire stop here. He's on the same strategy on the right as Elliott set. It's Chase Elliott having a great day. We've documented top 5 run. The car has gotten better. It's the best it's been today. Matt?
And Kyle Busch making his way to his pit box. His teammate, the 11, Denny Hamlin, he should be hitting his box shortly soon. He's been very quiet on the radio. We documented earlier just the issues recovering from that issue on pit road. Solid stop so far. The 11, Denny Hamlin, is in as well. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, significant crank there on the 11. Balance just hasn't been there much of the day, swinging from really free to the opposite on the tight side, Vince.
One of Jamie McMurray is coming to pit road as well as these green flag stops come, and the caution is now out, Mike.
Jimmy Johnson gambled by staying out, and it pays off.
Oh my goodness.
He inherited the lead from Jamie McMurray, and he is the leader as Regan Smith causes the caution up in turn number 2.
You just think about risk versus gain, and what a huge risk they took by keeping Jimmy Johnson out that late. But then the leader started hitting pit road. I thought that's exactly when he would come down pit road, stays out. Now he's got a bunch of them a lap down. They get the wave around, and he has the lead.
Hey, Larry, I bet the trend, I don't know what the trends are, and I'm not asking you to look it up real quick, but I bet the trends told Chad Canals he needed to probably stay out until this point.
Boy, heavy damage and impact by the 43, Regan Smith.
Oh, my gosh. That
Losing a right
shot
front.
up the hill.
Now, he was 14th.
But that's what I was talking about, Mike. When you stay out this long on tires and you start pitting and other people stay out, that's the kind of thing that can happen right there.
I believe Eric Jones may be the free pass car. We'll double check that. Now, as we've seen at Phoenix and at Charlotte, Austin Dillon and the 31, Ryan Newman, were stretching it on fuel mileage also.
But Mike, remember, they pitted that last caution when a lot of the rest of them stayed out. So that's one reason they were able to stretch it on fuel and tires.
Right. Paul Menard also, along with Chris Buescher, Danica Patrick, stretching it out. Now, those of you looking for the NHRA New England Nationals, they are coming up here on FS1. That coverage beginning in about 5 minutes over on FS2, or you can watch on your mobile device, Fox Sports Go. When the race ends here in Dover, we'll go to Epping, New Hampshire on FS1.
Hey, Michael, the world's most interesting sportsman is running second now.
Wow. That'd be Ty Dillon.
I can't do anything with this man. Darrell, he can pull strategy. He can. He's a hand model. He's got it all.
He's got it all, brother.
What? What?
Well, the Field and Fin, they named
Field and Fin?
Yeah, I think that's the name.
Okay.
It's a sportsman magazine. So if you're a hunter, fisherman, you know about the magazine. But anyway, they named Ty Dillon the most interesting sportsman in the world.
Wow.
It's big.
Not in America, in the world.
No, in the world.
All right, let me correct on the free pass. Kyle Larson, we're being told, will be the free pass car. First car 1 lap down as a result of pit stops. Well, Jimmy Johnson. Let's hear where that horseshoe went.
Right side looks fine to me. I just saw kind of quick glimpse of it there, but it doesn't look like it's torn up. I didn't think I hit it that hard. I just leaned on it, but man, I got tight after that.
Boy, aerodynamics are so important. I don't know if he got the right rear at all. That maybe that did a little bit of damage. Sometimes you'll bend some components back there, like the track bar, and it could cause a car to go tight. But there's a little tiny bit of damage on that lip.
Maybe a little bit, but look at the tires. That's what I always go by. If you got into the wall pretty good, you're going to rub all the lettering off the tires. And the tires still have all the Goodyear on the side. The car looks pretty straight to me. I think it's okay.
So Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were last on pit road at lap 243.
can see just a little scrape on that right front fender, not much, and you can still see all the writing on the tire. So that's a good gauge, I think.
Pit road is open, and here comes Jimmy. Go, Vince.
They will take a closer look at that right rear, but Chad Canal said if it's going to slow you down, don't mess with it. I just want a solid stop here, no mistakes. You heard Jimmy say after he got into the wall, the car got tight. This is going to be a 4-tire change for Jimmy Johnson. Jamie?
Yellen making his second Cup start here at Dover. He's been really happy with the race car. Loose early, but it comes to him. 4 tires, no changes, Matt.
Ryan Newman sitting on pit road. Could have gone to lap 358 on fuel. His teammate, Austin Dillon, trying to back up his best qualifying effort of the year, 9th with a good run. You can see chassis adjustment there. The car just on the tight side the longer the run goes. Solid, really solid run by these guys all day.
Well, that was a solid stop for Jimmy Johnson, but he got beat out on pit road by Ty Dillon.
See that come.
But he almost got beat up. Watch his 13 car. I mean, he and Jimmy almost make some contact.
Aggressive
here.
exit when
Great
he comes
stop.
out. He just turns right.
Rudy Barker and this crowd, they're on it.
Well, we talked about this being a disadvantage to coming in and pitting early, and that's exactly what the 13 of Ty Dillon and those guys took advantage of. All he had to do is turn out and stop Jimmy in his tracks from being able to pass him.
Richard Childress says we got these guys right where we want them.
Now watch Ty Dillon pull out.
This is close.
Right in front of Jimmy Johnson, almost collecting Dale Jr. there. Timed it. Had one pit box in between them. 48 was right there with nowhere to go on this very narrow pit lane.
I don't know if it was even going to matter him turning out. I think they really just beat the 48 out. It looked like the 48 maybe had a little issue on the left rear.
Little slow, the 48 was.
While we're under caution, I want to tell you about a great thing that Pocono Raceway is doing on Friday as you look at the pit performance comparison for Ty Dillon and Jimmy Johnson. Friday at Pocono next week is Free Friday. You bring an empty monster can and you're going to get in free. That's great promotion. Free Friday.
I
now,
like it.
Saturday, we're going to have a lot of fun with the Xfinity Series race on Saturday.
Amen.
I can't wait for this.
I can't wait for Pocono.
Yeah, the broadcast, I'm pretty excited for it. I'm excited to listen to Eric Jones and Ryan Blaney because I've really never heard them talk.
You know, with myself and Denny, we get along well. Did the same thing. Other than when he takes me out from time to time.
It's pretty easy to call the race.
I'm a little bit nervous standing next to Boyer in the booth.
Yes, we're going to mess this up.
We're going to be confused, we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to have fun. And hopefully everyone watching can have a lot of fun too.
That'll be Saturday on Fox. NASCAR Xfinity Series Driver Edition.
The Brady Bunch edition.
Oh, man.
There's all our commentators for next Saturday.
I remember
and here are the roles that they will all fill.
Remember you used to TV, Mike? Everything was fine. The red light would come on the camera, and you'd say, what's that red light for? You're on the air. Man, you froze
want
right
put
up.
some talcum powder in their earpieces and, just kind of haze them just a little?
I don't think
I don't think it'll be necessary.
I don't think we need to.
Ty Dillon is your race leader with Ryan Newman alongside.
And everyone that's behind you beat all day, so that's our buffer. There won't be many to go when we take it. Handle this thing. Simple. Time to play with the big boys.
You know how many Childress affiliated cars are in the top 10 right now?
Yeah, all of them.
5 of them.
All right. Right. Matt?
Mike, that caution certainly shook things up, and Cole Pearn, now your man's back in 11th, restarting. Judging from how that car reacted earlier, starting a little farther back, what can Martin expect?
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. Not a lot of laps left, so hopefully we can get a bunch here and then get another caution and get another stab at it.
Mike.
So 16 wave arounds, including Martin Truex, Jamie McMurray, Casey Kane. Now, those of you looking for the NHRA New England Nationals, that will follow this race on FS1. It's going to start over on FS2. The details are on the ticker at the bottom of the screen for you.
Well, Mike, it's time for a trend here. The last 10 spring Dover races, the average last caution falls with 48 laps to go, but 4 times in the last 25 laps and only once in the last 10 spring races did we have an overtime. That was 2 years ago.
Wow. Getting set for the restart. Been a fun weekend here in Dover. Concrete, crab cakes, an international drone racing competition out there in the fan zone. And Kyle Larson getting the free pass here. What's up with Trevor Bayne? We're going to add one lap here for him and Matt DiBenedetto, who's being chased down pit road there. The 6 took the wave around, but he was told on the radio by scoring he was not eligible for the wave around. Let's go down to the 13 pit, the leaders pit, and Jamie.
Well, Booty Barker is the crew chief for Ty Dillon. You guys had a great stop there. You worked your way into the top 10 on your own. Is the car good enough to keep it up front in this clean air?
Well, clean air helps a ton. Happy for Ty. It's a big event right here. I hope he makes it happen. But either way, crew has done great. Geico Chevrolet running well.
You imagine his brother went to victory lane last week. If Ty goes this week, wow, what a celebration.
1 week ago, older brother Austin Dillon on the last caution flag stop, they decided they were going for it along with their RCR teammates. And when Jimmy Johnson ran out of gas because he had not been told from the start they were going to go the distance without stopping again, Austin Dillon crossed the line. The car sputtered in fumes, or was it tears of joy, as he made one spin and then made that trademark belly flop into the infield grass and walked to victory lane.
Beautiful win. I'm not sure about that slide, though.
Here he is today. One of those winners this season. And boy, look at all the surprises. And we could get to 16 or more winners before Richmond.
Yep.
Without too much trouble. Dillon, Newman, the front row. Austin Dillon, Johnson, Earnhardt, Menard, Patrick, Busher, Larson, McMurray. That's your top 10. Then Truex, Kane, Elliott, and Kyle Busch. Here we go.
Well, that's not going to help Jimmy Johnson's cause. Ryan Newman spun the tires, caused that inside lane to lose a little momentum.
Larson was 3 wide.
That 13 got a great start. It's just what he needed. Now, if he could just put a little gap between he and everybody else, although here comes Newman, he's looking pretty stout.
Yep, Ty Dillon's got to get away here.
Got to get away because the hungry hounds are coming after him.
.61 to go.
Richard Child's got to be loving this.
Oh, man.
He's got to be loving every minute of this.
If it could just end right now,
oh, yeah.
I think he'd be really happy.
You know, he's saying, look at us go. We're back.
Yeah, if it was only 6 laps to go instead of 60. Well, who knows? Larson up to 9th. That's Patrick back on the lead lap, trying to hold off McMurray for 10th.
Tell you one thing, that those two in the front right now, 13 and 31. They better not look back too far. Here comes that 48, and he looks like he's getting it on now.
And you know what we hear all the time about teams like the 13 or the 31? If I could just get out front, just get that clean air. I'm always battling in dirty air further back in the pack. I just need to get up there. Well, now's your opportunity. Show us what you can do with it.
Now, of the drivers that took the wave around, Kyle Busch just passed Martin Truex, and they are still pretty deep in the field. Back at 16th and 17th, Michael McDowell. Still 2 laps down.
They're liking that clean air, and it would be really good to have all this clean air if it went for that 48.
They just didn't have a mirror on.
It just went for that 48.
Now here's something you haven't heard this year. Chevrolet positions 1 through 9 right now.
Wow, big day for them.
Patrick, the first Ford, in 11th. Make it 1 through 10 for Chevrolet. And Suarez, the first Toyota, in 14th.
Well, I know they haven't had a lot of them up there in the top 10, but the one that's led a lot of laps.
Trouble off turn 2, guys. Turn 2.
They were 3 wide, and Paul Menard paid the price on the outside.
Yeah, I think
somebody got into him.
I think Busher got loose under Menard. That's what it looked like.
With Larson right behind him. There's the damage on Chris Busher, who got into Paul Menard coming out of turn 2. Things narrow up there in a hurry.
Yeah, he won the Xfinity race here in 15. Busher did.
Yeah, they were at least 3 wide.
See what happens here. We got Kyle Larson looking around trying to find a way by. 37 on the bottom. He just gets a little bit high. They make contact, and it's on from there.
And you can see, if you just get off that bottom a foot, the car just takes off on you. And, you know, you got to have the experience to know to check up, get it slowed down without getting into that car on the outside. Dude, what an incredible heads-up moment and move by Kyle Larson. I mean, he was in the high lane and then moved down, shot down right in front of Dale Jr. to clear this.
He might have seen that coming.
It seems like he did.
He might have seen that one coming.
I think that was that Eric Jones, the red car that just scoots through on the outside? Maybe not, but Jones gets the free pass. In any case, Eric Jones will be back on the lead lap. And here's Martin Truex on pit road. That's a bit of a surprise.
Do they have any tires left, Larry?
Yeah, they'll have one set left. Okay. They'll have one set. He took the wave around.
Oh, that's right. He took the wave around. So he's going to put another fresh set on here.
Mike, there's a little bit of damage. The rear bumper where the bumper cover goes into the quarter panel is peeled up like a can opener somewhat. You can see them kicking it, trying to get it back in there. Brian Deal, the gas man, pulls back away. The 18 also discussed pitting, but Kyle Busch said, you know, I'd hate to sit there and leave a set in the pits, but they were concerned about a caution later in the race.
And the way today is gone, we're likely to have one.
I say you got an opportunity to put them on. I'd put them on now.
Okay.
I really like where the 78 is. They get the wave around. They got 4 fresh tires. Could be good news for him.
We're going to keep it side by side right here. Ty Dillon, your leader in Dover.
Wise old man used to tell me after we talk about the setup of the car, he'd say, whatever happens, just drive the piss out of it. Got a left rear problem here. Yeah, it's off. Left rear's off. Left rear went down. That's how he wants to race this. That's how we should race him. I'm sure he's going to be mad at us about that one. I don't care. It's the racing.
Monster Energy Cup racing from Dover, presented by the Drive for Autism. It's almost over in Dover. It'll be 52 laps to go on the restart. Again, Ty Dillon, Ryan Newman up front, Johnson and Austin Dillon, row 2, Larson and Earnhardt, McMurray and Kane, Chevrolet, all the front 4 rows. Then Danica Patrick's Ford, Daniel Suarez in 12th, the first Toyota. Here we go.
Pretty nice start to that 13, but Jimmy Johnson is trying to push the 31 car back up through there, but he didn't quite make it.
No, but this time he clears the 3 car. That's going to give him a little breathing room.
Interesting or not, Ty Dillon is driving the race of his young life right now.
He's driving it like he stole it right now. I'm telling you, Booty Barker, go, Booty, go.
He better.
And then Kyle Larson, I mean, he was the free pass car. That caution couldn't have worked out any better for him, and he made up some spots, and now he's moved himself right up into 4th position.
Meanwhile, Truex and Kyle Busch, the 2 strongest Toyotas, are mired in traffic. Not going anywhere right now.
Jimmy Johnson needs to get going because Kyle Larson has caught him. Larson's pretty fast, we know that.
Truex and Kyle Busch just took it 3 wide on Danica Patrick trying to move up, but that's back at 13th position. Vince.
Well, Jimmy Johnson reported that tight condition after he got into the wall with the right side is not as bad now on this run. That's good news. But Chad Knaus told him just before this restart, you've got the 42 behind you. The 2 of you should be battling for the win.
Oh, man, did you see that right there? He tried to get underneath the 31, didn't complete the pass, and that opened the door for the 42.
Fighting back, though. Look at this outside move.
And who's the hardest guy to pass in this series?
Man.
Ryan Newman.
He is tough
by
to pass.
consensus.
He just fights really hard when he's, especially in these positions and situations.
Mike, but this is when Jimmy Johnson finds a little wee bit more than anybody else. He digs deep. And we got 40 laps to go.
Where'd Dale Jr. come from?
That setup's starting to finally come to him.
Well, it's a late race setup.
48 to go.
I think you'll see that I believe Jimmy Johnson might have gotten the out right there. He just touched him, touched the 31 to Newman, enough to get Newman out of the way.
Yeah, no damage. Oh, little contact between the 42 and the 48.
42's Had a little contact with different folks today.
Well, he knew that was his moment. If he could get in front of the 48 of Jimmie Johnson right there, it's his to win if he can go up and get by Ty Dillon.
Yeah, the letters have been rubbed off that left side tire.
Mike, that 24
I don't
car.
think it's too bad. If we get the lead, it'll be better.
That 13 car just ran a 24.11. Johnson just a tick quicker, but not very much, about a half a tenth.
7th place, McMurray coming back. Here comes Chase Elliott against teammate Casey Kane.
Again, that time by a 24.18 to a 24.10. So just a little quicker on Johnson, but not a lot.
And now 9 Chevrolets out front. Make that 9. Truex the first Toyota in 10th. Harvick the first Ford in 11th.
Yeah, Truex should be coming. He's got 4 fresh tires on that car. He could be somebody that you might have to deal with here late in the day.
He's back into the top 10. He's got 44 laps to go.
Well, he can make that up, Kenny Jeff.
Sure.
Not if Ty Dillon has anything to say.
Might need a little help. I just think it's cool that Ty Dillon is able to sit out here. He's leading this race. Jimmie Johnson's quicker than he is, but he's leading this race with a chance.
And he's paid his dues. He spent his time in the Xfinity Series. He's come up to the Cup Series. There was not a seat open at the family team, Richard Childress Racing, so they made a deal to put him into the Germain number 13 here, and boy, he's run well.
Oh, look at this. The 42 is going to get to the outside of Jimmie Johnson. This could be for the win if Larson can get up there and get by the 13 of Ty Dillon. The 48 got loose behind. Whoa! Again,
I think he took a shot at him.
He got loose down in 1 and 2 behind the 13. That allowed the 42 to get a run, and Jimmy knew that 42 was going to dive to the outside. Could not quite complete that block.
I don't think he took a shot at him on purpose, but that car was headed up the hill right into the side of that 42.
I know every time Ty Dillon looks in his mirror, he sees this battle happening between the 42 and the 48, and he's loving it, but he's not loving what he's seeing now.
No, he's not looking in his mirror. He's looking at that scoreboard. How many more laps?
And Kyle Busch has come to pit road. With 41 to go, he'll lose at least 1, maybe 2 laps with this stop. Now, here's some Jimmie Johnson audio.
All right, man, let's settle in here. Let's settle in. That's the worst news that's telling me right now.
Man, Larson is there.
Oh, yeah.
How does he make this pass happen? Oh, he kind of faked to the low side and then goes to the high side.
Yeah, he's going to drive around the outside.
And Kyle Larson, the new leader. He's led 199 laps next time around.
He would have had a set left. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we know Jimmie Johnson's car has been a little bit better on the longer run, and we've got 40 laps to go here, so this thing isn't over by any means. I love Jimmy DiCenzo. I didn't know what I need to hear right now. Some drivers like to be talked to. Some drivers like to be encouraged. Some drivers just want to be left alone.
Jimmy says he likes to be coached, and Chad's a great coach.
I think Jimmie Johnson with 10 wins here, he knows what to do.
You saw how hard Kyle Larson's pushing right there. He came through turn 4 completely sideways. That is exactly what Jimmie Johnson wants to see. He wants to see him pushing, making mistakes, so he can just reel him in.
I think Kyle Larson knows Jimmie Johnson's better than he is on the long run, and we still got a long way to go. Yeah, Johnson's closing back up right now. It looks like Jimmy's about a 10th, maybe 2. Let's see what he is this lap by.
Well, this is one of those tracks, if Larson runs hard on that right rear tire, you can easily build up the air pressure, build up the heat, and the car will go away. If he settles in right now, he can get it to come back to him if he doesn't push too hard.
10th difference that time by a 38 to a 27. So Johnson is a 10th quicker.
Eric Jones got the free pass in the last caution, trying to pass Casey Kane for 12th place.
Now, the last time we had a longer run, you know, Jimmie Johnson really, he got looser as the run went on, and it almost seemed like the 42 of Kyle Larson got better. curious to see what happens on this run. You look at the 48 moving around, going to the top side, trying to find something.
He's going to get that momentum run off the corner. It really worked good for him earlier.
All right, Matt can update us on why Kyle Busch came in.
For several laps, Kyle felt a vibration in the back of the race car. It was not getting any better. Adam Stevens said simply, if you think it's too bad, bring it down to us. We don't want to wreck the car. Finally, he gave up the ghost, brought it down, loose left rear.
Oh, wow. Watching 8th place here. Out front, Kyle Larson maintaining half a second on Jimmy Johnson, beginning to get in a little traffic, Jamie.
Yes, and you know, I was talking to his crew chief, Chad Johnston, this morning about this very race a year ago, and he confirmed that was the first time his driver and his team competed straight up for a race win. It was heartbreaking to lose it, but a lot has happened in the last year. They're two-time winners, and today their car is just as good. He is dominated, and he's just 32 laps away from perhaps getting redemption.
He's led 206 laps, 32 to go, but Johnson is there.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to deal with Kyle Busch, who is 2 laps down, but has fresh tires, and he's coming on the leaders.
Well, they're also going to have to deal with lap traffic. Lap traffic really affects aerodynamics for that leader as they come up on those slower cars, and maneuver through that traffic could be the difference of winning and losing this race.
Vince?
Yeah, they've alerted Jimmy Johnson to the fact that Kyle Busch is coming on fresh tires, but that he is laps down. Chad Knaus just exploring of Jimmy to just stay focused and stay on that 42. As Chad told me earlier today, I don't care about the 10 times we won before. I came here this weekend to win again, and they are 30 laps away from having a real good shot at it.
Yeah, this is, it's frustrating when you're trying to battle for the win and you've got somebody that's 2 laps down, but at the same time, if you're Kyle Busch, you have no choice. You had a problem. You know, if you can get back 1 lap down, that there's a good chance you can get back into this race if the caution falls out.
Well, that's allowed Larson to pull away a good bit on Jimmy here, though, with Jimmy having to race Kyle Busch here. I tell you, Jimmy's searching around. He doesn't have, I don't think his car is as good as Larson's at this point, and he's searching around. He's been high, he's been low. He runs his best lap time, Jimmy Johnson does, when he sticks to the bottom. He loses time when he goes to the top.
Now he lost almost half a second as Kyle drove by him, maneuvering. Let's see what happens when Kyle catches Kyle Larson. And if Busch is able to get by him without incident. And this is meaningless. All it will do, it will put Kyle Busch 1 lap down instead of 2.
Right.
It's meaningful for Kyle Busch, but not for the race for the lead.
Well, and I've been watching a little bit of the line that Kyle Larson's been running, and we see the darker line build up where the right side tires are laying rubber into the racetrack. What he's been doing is straddling it, so he'll go up, he'll dime in the corner, come back down, and he'll straddle that darker line of rubber, and it seems to be really giving him a nice run off the corner.
Now Kyle Busch went by Larson, and it didn't slow Larson's lap time at all because of where Kyle caught him.
Yeah, but Larson and Johnson both went high because they want the 18 to go on. They don't want to have to mess with him. So Larson went high and gave the bottom to the 18. The 18 went by. Jimmy closed up a little, but Jimmy's not quite as good as Kyle Larson right now.
Well, the good thing for Kyle Larson right now is Kyle Busch will move those lap cars up and out of the way for him. Not intentionally, of course, but running his own race as faster than the leader right now. That'll kind of help make way for Larson. Ty Dillon still 3rd. He's 4 seconds back. Newman 4.6. Earnhardt 4.8. Good battle there.
And Austin Dillon still running 6th.
And that's a good validation of his win last week.
Exactly what I talked to him about earlier today. Just get a good top 10 finish. That's what you want today.
Martin Truex fought his way up to 6th spot. Right now he is as quick as the leaders, but not faster than.
He's gaining a little bit, but he's got a long way to go. And pretty short time to get there.
Here's 11th place. Suarez and Jones battling.
They've been battling all day long, those two rookies have.
Still have 16 cars on the lead lap with 22 to go. Dale Jr. in 5th. He's been close to Ryan Newman, but unable to make the pass. Ty Dillon, Newman, and Earnhardt all running right very close together.
Impressive
3rd, 4th,
patience
5th.
from Dale Earnhardt Jr. today.
Oh, well, just think where he's been running most of the day. He's back about 15, 12, 15. Right now, got a good shot here to top 5.
Danica spun earlier today. Nice rebound to be 16th.
1 year ago here at Dover, Kyle Larson led a bunch of laps, battled Matt Kenseth in the closing stages, and took a look back.
The race at Dover last year with Matt was a lot of fun. What I remember about it just being really intense and exciting, and close racing there. I did everything I could to get by him without really getting into him. You're disappointed that I didn't get the win, but still had a blast that day, and I know I earned a lot of respect throughout the garage area, which was good.
It was, and he had a great run. This year, different story.
I think it's really cool that that young man is worried about respect. I really think it's interesting that he thinks about that a lot, and we hear him speak of it a lot. He wants to be a star in this sport, and he is, but he wants to be accepted for who he is as well, and he's a great young man, great little driver. What I really am impressed, Mike, is just how Chad Johnson and that whole Ganassi operation with this car right here, the one car of McMurray, how they have turned the corner about middle or latter part of last year, and how good that car has been everywhere we go.
Back at 11th place. The rookies keep battling.
Man, these guys have just been going at it today.
They have.
Great racing between these two rookies, and a great job, as tricky as these conditions are, keeping the fenders on these cars as much as they've been side by side today.
Jim's got him there, I think. He got the bottom line. He's able to slide up in front of Suarez and take the position. You got to think about Jones. I mean, he spun out in practice. He had a couple of spins at Kansas a few weeks ago. He's got to be thinking, I got to hang on to this thing here at the end of this race.
Ty Dillon 3rd. You're looking from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. This is 5th. Martin Truex Jr. coming with 16 to go.
He's coming.
Yeah, you can just see those tires and how well his car is handling. He was just able to get right up on his rear bumper and wait to accelerate off the corner to make that move underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, he is 8 seconds back of the leader, Kyle Larson.
A lot like last week when he was trying to chase down the 3 car in the 48 at that time. He just ran out of laps. He had a fast car, ran out of laps.
Yeah, pretty much what we've seen all day as a trend for Kyle Larson. His car seems to be really good on the long runs. Jimmy Johnson, he talked about improving his car on the shorter runs. I think he's definitely done that. What he needs right now is either another caution to go after Larson, or maybe one of those adjustments that they made just didn't quite get the cars good on the longer run.
Yeah, what I see with Larson, Jeff, is the car doesn't have to be perfect. We've seen that car move around a lot today. We've seen it sideways a number of times. The car doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to be something drivable that he can hang on to, because he can hang on to a loose car.
Pretty impressive numbers right there. 225 laps led.
Martin Truex has caught 4th place Ryan Newman. Lap car just ahead, and Newman's going to use it as a pick. Double Witt.
Man, you work, get right there to the guy, and then you get a shot at him, and there's a slow car in your way. You have to fall back in line and start all over again.
And you're running out of time. 12 to go. The NHRA from Epping, New Hampshire coming up here on FS1. Right now you'll find it over on FS2 until our race coverage ends here in Dover. Jimmy Johnson 1.9 seconds back, but that gap fractionally increasing lap by lap.
Yeah, he just, I think Jimmy's kind of come to the fact here that he's not going to catch the 42. But I still, you know, an incredible finish. If it ends this way, that 13 car of Ty Dillon, he's still running third. His teammate here, Newman, running fourth. And that's going to be a heck of a day for those guys.
Ryan Sieg in the 83 moves aside in turn 3.
And see, Newman's doing a great job of protecting the bottom, making it really difficult to get underneath him and complete this pass. See if Martin Truex can roll that bottom and make it happen here. I think he's going to clear him now.
Should be able to. Newman went up the hill a little bit and opened the door for Truex on the bottom.
Junior pulling up on the lap car in 6th. McMurray behind him. Then Austin Dillon.
Just another really good day for the 88 car. Hung in there all day. You know, got good strategy at the end. Got him in a position where he's going to get a top 10. That's pretty impressive.
I think he's going to get a better finish than the car he had most of the day.
Yeah, he was back 15th most of the day. Right now, here he is running 6th.
Well, I think into this top 10, I'm looking at a lot of cars who really need a solid day today to build some momentum on. Chase Elliott, you know, Austin Dillon came off that win. He needs to follow that up. He's going to do that. Ty Dillon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., McMurray. This, you know, that's the trend I see right now of the top 10.
We'll show you the lead.
It's pretty big.
It's about a straightaway with 6 to go.
Yeah, he's just steadily increased the lead. He's just, I think Jimmy's just kind of come to the decision that he's not going to be able to catch him just nice and solid here today on the 48. But remember, Jimmy Johnson started in the back, so he had to work his way to the front. He's been there most of the day. Still a nice finish.
And when you think of notches in your belt, and I go back to Kyle Larson, I mean, if he wins this race, if a caution doesn't come out, he doesn't have a problem. If he wins this race, he went up against the best today, and that's in Jimmy Johnson.
And oh, by the way, let's start looking for the broom, because this would be a clean sweep.
Yes.
For Kyle Larson of both Saturday's Xfinity race and Sunday's Cup race in Dover.
And it's redemption for what happened to.
Man, 3rd place here.
Well, this might be this may not turn out so good for Eric Jones.
Caution. Car in the wall, turn 2, and it is David Reagan.
Now, who do you think this favors?
Woo.
The 78.
And you got Truex in 3rd. Now we've got a race.
I think the 78, it benefits him the most because he's got pretty darn good tires.
14th caution flag of the day. Well, things were heating up. First, here's what happened to David Reagan.
Ooh, you hear that tire, man, and that is hard lit. Whoa.
That's your eye, bud. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a good one.
That's multiple issues for both front row cars.
Right front.
And now here's Eric Jones going after Kevin Harvick for a top 10 spot.
I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Sort of.
That's definitely a favor. It might get repaid.
I think these guys are pretty happy because they're sitting in the catbird seat.
Right back into this thing. Oh,
wow.
Fire.
He didn't just hit with the right front. David Reagan's out of the car. He's okay. Car is not.
Guys, we have 16 drivers on the lead lap. We know all the guys up front. Truex has no more tires, but I would say somewhere back there, maybe about 8th or 9th on back, they may come get that last set of tires.
Yeah,
what do you got to lose?
The other good thing for Truex, he'll be starting 3rd.
Pit road is open. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads Jamie McMurray, Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, and more onto pit road. Now, here's what we heard from Kyle Larson.
But I think we've made our bet here. I think we just got to stay out. It's going to be a green light checker. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw Chad Johnson. He just dropped his head and said, oh, my.
Yeah, boys, I think we're going to overtime.
Yeah.
Short and sweet from the radio of Kyle Larson.
Yep.
I think everything is falling right into Truex's hands right here, though. He's going to restart 3rd. He's going to, if he gets a nice restart here, he's going to be on the inside. Could really work out well for him.
Now his last pit stop was 18 laps after Larson and 12 laps after Jimmy Johnson.
Just enough.
Maybe.
Just enough to make a little bit of difference.
So what do we have, about 7th on back, I think? Came in and took tires.
You can see Truex there has the freshest ones. Oh goodness, in section 9, Dale Earnhardt Jr. too fast exiting.
And Greg Ives had rolled the dice, went with just right side tires on that 88 car, as well as Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez in the 19 rights only.
Man, and he was sitting there running in 7th place, and
that means he will restart 17th. Here's Jimmy Johnson talking about restarts.
Coming in the restart box, you're just trying to be aware of your surroundings. Depending on where you are in the running order, some tracks it's much more important to have cars tucked up right behind you for a push. Other scenarios at other tracks, especially if you're on the front row, when you think that driver is going to accelerate, to time it with him, or if you're the leader, trying to catch someone off guard and maybe drifting back a little bit, and you can punch it and get an advantage there.
Going to have a little lengthy cleanup there in turn 2 for David Reagan. Remember that last restart last
it's
year?
interesting when you're talking to Jimmy Johnson about a restart, because last year, boy, there were all kinds of problems as he couldn't get it out of 2nd gear. He's the leader, doesn't get going. They all stack up behind him, and we had the big one here at Dover.
It's pretty much the same players at the front of the field right now, too. Kenseth, Johnson, the whole crowd, they're right there. Truex. But, oh, that was a hard lick for Dale Jr. Mike, one thing about it, when you look at the 2 guys on the front row there, you know, Johnson and Larson, and you got right behind them Truex and Ty Dillon, this could be really interesting if the front row doesn't get going like they should.
That's right.
Well, I think there's a very good chance that Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Larson, but especially Jimmy on that inside lane, I'm pretty sure that Larson will take the outside, will spin the tires. And what has Martin Truex Jr. had all day long? A launch. He can take off.
Good restarts, yeah.
Here's Martin Truex's radio.
Like 10 mile better tires, if that means anything. Probably not, but yeah, all those cars we had to pass, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I was just trying to pump you up. I don't need it, bud.
I don't need any help.
I'm pumped up. I don't need it.
I love it when the driver comes back like that. I don't need any help right now. But the other thing is, remember Johnson caught that caution flag earlier in the race. So things have been going his way, and it might just go his way here on this restart.
Things have been going Kyle Larson's way, too.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Now Kyle Larson, after experience shows, could being on the front row for the restart, is there a downside to that?
My restarts are amazing when I'm not on the front row. When I'm on the front row, that's where I tend to get beat and where I need to get better at to win those stages and the overall race.
Oh, wow. Great job getting that soundbite, and he's going to have to change that.
Here's their radio.
Keep an eye on this 48. He hasn't been racing us real clean. Except for, I'm sure the 78 won't either. So we just get a good restart and get him nice and cleaned off. Yes, sir.
Just remember that 42 and the 48 had a little issue. Remember the 78 and the 42 had a little issue. So that's what they're referring to. They may not race us real clean.
You could hear that same response on all their radios. I don't know who thinks who's racing one another clean.
If I was back at Ryan Newman, Eric Jones, 5th, 6th, Chase Elliott, 7th, I'd be licking my chops right now. This could get big.
It could.
So we're going to overtime. They'll wave the green flag in the restart zone as usual, and we get one attempt to get a clean restart. If they make it to the overtime line, you see on the graphic that's just about midway down the back straightaway, then the next flag will end the race, whether it's yellow or checkered. And we'll keep trying until we get one.
One to go.
Now remember early in the race when Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson were racing each other pretty hard right here off into turn 3.
Just trying to help a brother out here. Get right up out of the way.
Yeah.
78 went on by.
He got pretty loose. 42 got loose getting into 3.
They'll get loose when your rear tires are off the ground. It just happens that way.
So here we go with Larson and Johnson on the front row. Kyle takes the outside. Truex and Ty Dillon. Newman and Jones, Elliott, McMurray, Suarez and Dillon, the first 10 of 18 cars on the lead line.
Larson just had to run through speedy dry. That's going to get on the tires. He's got to find a way to get that cleaned off.
I tell you, you know what some of the drivers told me, Mike? Everybody watches the front row to see what those front. They don't want anybody to beat, want the outside guy to beat the guy that starts the race to the line. That means the guys in the second row can lay back just a little bit, and get a little advantage.
Now, because of that oil dry in turn 2, NASCAR has added 1 lap. So we'll get to think about this for another minute.
Yeah, and exactly what you're saying, DW, and we heard Kyle Larson talk about. He's a great restarter, but when he's on the front row, here we watch him.
Wow, that's
They
a
hadn't
lot.
quite cleaned that speedy dry up.
Wow. Yeah, it's when he started
rubber and debris and all kinds of things coming off the car there. But when you're the leader, everybody else is trying to anticipate you, and if they can just carry 1 mile per hour or more speed, they have momentum that you don't have.
Exactly.
What that does is it sort of makes you rush the throttle, and you can spin the tires so much easier by being the leader than others.
Now here they come to turn 2. When you come through there at speed with that oil dry up in the top groove, would you rather be on the inside? Or will it matter by the time they come back?
I don't think it's going to matter.
I don't think it'll matter.
Okay.
I think
It's almost on the straightaway there.
Once you get to that point, I think you're good to go. But I do. This is going to be one of those restarts that we may talk about for a long time, lot like the one we saw here last year.
3 of the top 7 drivers, Ty Dillon, Jones, Elliott, looking for their first career Cup win. Here we go with overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Mike, it's anybody's race right now. Don't count anybody in the victory circle just yet.
A California kid versus the 7-time champion. Green flag.
Larson did not get the start that he wanted. He's going to have to work hard to get the outside of Jimmy Johnson here. Oh.
McMurray 3 wide.
Wow, he's sideways. Oh,
no.
Big
The
crash back straight away.
Crashed.
That'll be it.
Big wreck going into 3. I mean, look at them. They're wrecking everywhere.
I think they made it to the overtime line.
Now NASCAR will have to look at video to determine whether the leader was at the overtime line or not before the caution.
So many good cars. We're having great days here, all wadded up in the 3rd turn.
Allmendinger destroyed. Dillon against the turn 3 wall.
What a shame.
Jones comes down pit road, completely wrecked. Mayhem. Casey Kane.
Cars just wadded up. The 77's crippled going down pit road here with the whole nose caved in.
All right, let's watch the leader, who is Jimmy Johnson.
See the stay drive flying up, but I think it might have affected the 42 car a little bit. I saw him wiggling a little bit there.
And there is the overtime line.
What do you think?
I think he's past it. Definitely. Wow.
So under caution, the race leaders will come around to the checkered flag. Cole Witt climbing out. We'll get a total of the cars involved for you. Ty Dillon was able to come across. And Jimmy Johnson will tie Cale Yarborough on Stock Car Racing's all-time win list. Johnson wins his 11th at Dover.
He's got a lot of fans here in Dover because they're all cheering for that.
I don't know that anybody saw that coming. I don't think they thought he was going to pull it off today, but he did it. I really felt like things were going his way when he stayed out on that one time there in the caution. Got a lot of cars a lap down. It worked out. Look at Chad. Chad, I got this.
What I was a little surprised by Larson, I know he's already a little bit hesitant on this restart by being the leader, but he waited so late in the box, in the restart box to take off. I think that only added to his wheel spin.
So let's review. They waved the green flag for overtime. And the rule is if the leader gets to the overtime line, which is right at the R in Dover, on the back straightaway, directly opposite start finish there, he's past there, and we're still green. that's the race. The next flag, yellow or checker, ends the race.
Yeah, and that wreck was happening, but the caution really didn't come out until they were in turn 3. Watch Ty Dillon. He gets loose, then a little bit of contact between he and his teammate Ryan Newman.
Hard contact, 77 and a 13 there.
And then it's on.
Yep, and he gets into the one. Is that McMurray down there?
Allmendinger, Bain.
Bam.
Jimmy Johnson.
Where is he?
He's in that big haze. Jimmy taking the checkered flag is today's Sunoco fueling victory. And look at some of the drivers that finished in the top 10 behind them. 4th for Newman, 5th for Elliott, 6th for Daniel Suarez. McMurray, Hamlin, Harvick, and Danica Patrick, the top 10. Our 5-hour energy extra strength move of the race is going to be the final restart.
So here they come. And look, Larson doesn't take off till so late. He spins the tires just a little bit. That's all it took. Jimmy made up for that restart last year that cost him.
See Larson right there, he gets a little loose, but it doesn't matter.
Big impact from the 77 of Eric
Just
Jones.
so many
and the 13 of Ty
cars all
Dillon.
on top of each other.
Jimmy Johnson, career win number 83, tied for 6th on the all-time list. Jimmy Johnson burns down the house in Dover.
Jimmy Johnson victorious, ties 6th on the all-time victory list in NASCAR history, pointing to the helmet of Cale Yarborough on the pre-race show. He talked about honoring Yarborough and that helmet. He said he wants to take down Darrell Waltrip next, who's has 84 wins next on that list. Meanwhile, it looked like Kyle Larson's race. Let's check in with Jamie Lou.
Well, he led 241 laps, and we thought the result would be different than a year ago, but he brings it home 2nd. There was a little frustration on the radio about that last restart. What was happening there?
I mean, he did what he had to do to get the best, launch that he did, and we were both playing games a little bit. He just took off better than I did. I wasn't really complaining about the restart. He did a good job. He's a 7-time champion for a reason. He's got a golden horseshoe somewhere, and he's really good at executing. So I just got to get better at that. We had a dominant car all day. We had a couple runs where we got off, maybe some bad tires or something, but we were able to rebound from those struggles. I fought hard all race long. I felt like we were on defense the whole race. Even though I led a lot of laps, I felt like we were on defense the whole time. We'd be on 2 tires when everybody else was on 4, 2 left side tires. Was able to lead a lot of laps. Needed to stay green there at the end. I was a lot better than Jimmy was. He just did a better job than I did on that last restart.
Thanks, Kyle. Let's go over to Vince with 3rd place.
Well, Martin Truex Jr., a tough one for him, too. Led more than 100 laps. I'm guessing there were times today where you thought you were going to win the race. How about that last restart and the way it shook out?
I don't know. We had a good day. We had a good car, and just got caught by that caution, when we pitted and lost our shot at the win. I don't know that we had the best car, but we had a good car for sure. And, the 42, the 48, us, I think we were all, we were all so close. Whoever it seemed like got out front was the best. But all in all, it was a good day. Just not the finish we hoped for, but still, when you're disappointed with a 3rd, it speaks volumes about your team and where you're at and what's going on. So I had a lot of fun out there today. I can't even tell you how challenging this track was with these cars and this aero package and all that. It's I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many times I almost wrecked by myself. So it was a lot of fun. It was a challenge. We had to come through the field, which was difficult. It says a lot about our car and our team, and we'll keep digging, try to get them next week.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, too. Great job. Martin Truex Jr., third place, Chris.
So thanks. And halfway to the chase, they've been the story. The guys we just heard from, Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, as we wait for, there's Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson's celebration. 7-time champ, his 11th Dover win. He's like 7-11. Jimmy Johnson always open for a win, but that combination of drivers, Larson, Johnson, Truex.
They've been the story in 2017, and then you add in the underdogs, guys that have slipped in and got wins.
And out in victory lane for the celebration, Rick Hendrick there, and Jimmy Johnson conquers Delaware once again.
Growing up, his hero was Cale Yarborough. He loved the Hardee's 28 paint scheme. He even went to a Hardee's one time hoping to see the car in person. He started the day wearing a special helmet with Cale on it. Jimmy, not very often an athlete grows up trying to chase his childhood hero. Today, you matched Hall of Famer Cale Yarborough. How impactful for you, the feeling of this win?
Yeah, that's such a great way to say it. I mean, I never thought I would end up here in NASCAR as a kid racing in the dirt out in Southern California. And you know, I was a big Cale Yarborough fan, and I remember going to a race in Oklahoma with my parents and my brother. We're driving across the country, and we pull up to a Hardee's. Had no idea it was a burger stand, and I really thought when I walked in the doors I was going to Cale Yarborough's race shop. It was so, very disappointed, had a burger and left, and then understood the world of sponsorship. So to be here to tie him at 83 wins, we just got the tribute helmet. I wasn't sure how quickly we'd be, or if we'd be able to go there and get it done. But Cale, you're the man. Thank you for all you've done for our sport. And then to be a part of one team, one sponsor, Lowe's, Chevrolet, Valvoline, Gatorade, to support the fans. This is an amazing day. And I do have one artifact that we found from my friend Lauren Rainier, one of Cale's old hats.
So many parallels between Jimmy and Cale. Humble beginnings, championship winning drivers.
Wow, a slice of history. Jimmy Johnson, even in his celebrating moment, remembering the great Cale Yarborough. So 3 of his last 4 wins have come from starting at the back of the field, and including the season finale in Miami last year when he won his 7th championship for Rick Hendrick. But saluting Cale Yarborough, and amazingly, he led only 2 times today for 7 total laps, an overtime under caution win with an 8-car crash at the end, and Jimmy Johnson wins.
This race had everything for me, Chris. It was so entertaining. The guys had to ration their tires. They had to run high on the track. They had to run low. And Jimmy Johnson just was in constant pursuit of Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr., the 2 fastest cars all day long. But when counted on the last restart, Jimmy got it done.
And Jimmy told us, as we will get to NHRA seconds away here on FS1 on the pre-race show, even an 8th championship doesn't mean that he's going to step away from the sport. He's NASCAR's first 3-time winner this season, the driver of the 48 Hendrick Chevrolet. Jimmy Johnson closing fast for an overtime victory halfway to NASCAR's playoffs, and he looks like he's the guy to beat, holding off Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. For Michael Waltrip, I'm Chris Myers, our entire crew. Next Sunday from Pocono on FS1. Straight ahead, NHRA lights up the only quarter-mile drag strip in New England.